What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Pigskin Addicts back again with another live stream. Man, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. We gotta talk about this. This was the absolute worst case scenario for the Chargers. There could not have been a worse scenario coming into a game that doesn't matter at all. There could not be a worse outcome for this team. I mean, this does not make sense at all. This did not make sense whatsoever. I'm sitting here flabbergasted by the decisions that Brandon Staley made. There's absolutely no way. There's no way in hell you can make those decisions as a head coach. I just don't. I have I have no like I there's no amount of words that I could put together that can explain how stupid Brandon Staley is. I mean, there really is there's nothing. There's no, there's nothing nothing, absolutely nothing at all that you can say that can justify what he did. There's no like deeper understanding from this. There's nothing to take away from this at all. Nothing besides negative. That's it. That's really all you can take away from this, man. This was nuts. This was absolute nuts. Um, you guys give me 1 second here. Let me switch to the main router is not as good as the one I got back here. Okay, so I'm good here. Uh Apex Pro Coach Staley killer instinct. He does not have any, but he's not smart. He's not smart at all. He's just not smart. Like there's no what in what planet, right? What league do you make that type of decision to risk the health of people on your team who have been hurt? And that's the crazy part about this too. Is like guys have been hurt. Like the Chargers, everybody I see on Twitter, everybody has been like posting the banged up report, right? It's like, oh, the bus report, right? Banged up season, whatever that is. I see a lot of Charger fans love tweeting that shit all day long. They talk about how banged up we are. But what does it matter if the coach is going to put these same banged up players in a bad situation in a meaningless game when you have a playoff game to go next week? It doesn't make any sense. Like this is this is one of the worst coaching decisions I think that I have ever seen. Even listening to the game, the CBS, they had like their team, right? That wasn't even their B or C team. Andrew Catalan, and James Lofton. They're the F team, right? They're the team that they're the announcing team that they do pretty much the worst game every week. Those guys, they never really get like primetime premium games. They get the worst games every week. But even the broadcaster was subtly like taking shots at Brandon Staley, like, what is he doing? Starters are still playing, and I seen him talking about Charger fans. The Charger fans are, they're going to be losing their minds, and he kept talking about it, kept alluding to, rightfully so, because if you look at Twitter, if you look at any social media right now, anything like there's a little bit on Facebook, everybody is questioning why your starters would play in a meaningless game. And even if you take it away from the injury thing, right? If you take it away from the injury thing, if you just go and you just look at what happened in the game, it took away all the Chargers' momentum. Everything that they've been doing the past month, right, on defense, everything that they've been doing, how well they played last week on offense against the Rams, everything got pretty much wiped away by leaving the starters in. I thought if you were going to play the starters, and I agreed with playing the starters. I agree with playing them for a quarter, right? I agree with letting them get to their routine, right? If you tell guys that they're going to sit, right, it can take them out of their routine. They're kind of into a certain routine by now, right? Obviously, week 18, they do certain things to they prepare their bodies to play, their minds, whatever. Have them go through their entire routine all week long, right? Nothing's changing. Have them go out there, play the first quarter or whatever, then pull them after that, right? Because at that point, nothing is being interrupted, right? All you're doing is just taking them away from the risk of being injured. Nothing's being interrupted at that point. You can take them out after the first quarter, right? After you get some series in, because everything has still been achieved. Preparation has been achieved. Mental reps have been achieved. Guys have from their body, they got their body right because they knew that they were going to play this week. They didn't, slack off and not go to a treatment session or whatever, right? Possibilities are endless, right? But everybody's routine stayed the same. So I agree with, yes, playing them for the first quarter. But after the first quarter, there really is nothing. There's absolutely nothing to play for. And especially how well the Chargers played in the first quarter, too. They played a pretty damn good first quarter. Offense, defense, they looked pretty damn good in the quarter. That would have been the perfect time to pull them. Perfect time, absolute perfect time, because at that point now you really have momentum. You have momentum for real, after they went out there, went down the field, scored a touchdown, right? Was able to stop Denver, right? Even though Denver scored on the next drive, the Chargers were able to go out and force 3 or 4 more 3-and-outs. Perfect ending to the quarter. Now you really have momentum. Now those guys can start to, develop their mindsets towards Jacksonville, right? We already knew what the matchup was going to be before kickoff. There's no reason, absolutely no reason to take this risk. It was very, 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 very stupid. I mean, it doesn't get any more bad than this. I think Staley, man. I think Staley is. I just when I was starting to come around on him again and starting to give him credit, he does this shit that doesn't make any sense. It absolutely doesn't make any sense. Just get us as I said to you on Twitter, he should have stopped at half, right? Maybe he should have done it after the first quarter. And I agree with that. A half push it, then no, a quarter. If you want to push it, then a half. Okay, I can agree. Like I really have no issues with that. But when Mike Williams got hurt, I think that's when the starters should have got pulled. All of them should have got pulled. When Mike Williams got hurt, when that injury happened, it should have been done. Everything, all bets are off. Nobody else is playing. Herbert's out. Everybody else is out. All bets are off because we can't take chances. We just can't. We don't have the depth. The Chargers don't have the depth on offense or defense to take these type of chances. You cannot replace a Mike Williams, right? You cannot replace a Joey Bosa. Kenneth Murray, even though he's been up and down, he's been pretty good, right? The past 3 weeks, he's been pretty solid. That's still a big injury as well, too. So, like, you're taking starters off of the field when you're going into a hostile environment for a playoff game. It just doesn't make the risk to reward ratio. There's nothing to play for at all. And there's no defending it too. Like that's the crazy part about this. There's no defending it. There's no way. And Brandon Staley is a wordsmith. He's a wordsmith. I have always said that I give him his credit. He's been very good at the podium, but there's no way for him to spin this. There's absolutely no way for him to spin this at all because Brandon Staley has an issue. I think Brandon Staley's issues are based in ego. That's what I personally feel. It's all based in ego because these type of games have happened this season, right? And what did Staley do? He left starters in and he left guys in to be, injured risk to risk more. The Jalen Guyton is Brandon Staley's fault because Jalen Guyton shouldn't have been playing, right? He should not have been playing week 3 against Jacksonville late, and he got injured late in the fourth quarter. He should not have been in the game. He should not have been in the game. It should have been some practice squad guy. It should have been somebody who doesn't play a good size role in your offense. And obviously Jalen Guyton was the only speed guy that we had. So once he went down, the speed went away. So you do not want to make that risk. Like you just don't take the risk. You just don't take the risk. You absolutely don't take the risk at all because at some point you're just hoping that things don't go wrong. And when you're in that place where you're hoping, you've already lost. And I've said this, throughout several live streams that I did, several videos. Once you're in a position of hoping in sports, you've already lost. Hoping and wishing and all of that stuff, you've already lost. So you have to take precaution, be smart. This right here, this that Brandon Staley, I think puts his job in direct jeopardy because now the Chargers must win next week. There's no moral victories. You got to win next week. You got to win next week for his. I think for his job, you have to win next week. Everything that he done can be all the good that he's done the past month can be erased, lost. And if especially if Mike Williams doesn't play next week, the Chargers lose, boy, it's gonna be a long offseason. And I'm gonna be all up Ellie's ass all off season long. I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna be talking about how he should go and the Chargers should get a coach who knows what the hell he's doing. A coach because that's all this was. This was all ego. All of it is ego. None of it makes sense. None of it. And then when you get to the crazy part about all of this too is that Brandon Staley, his persona, right? His persona, like throughout the media, when people talk about him, they talk about analytics, right? Brandon Staley and his analytics, and he's closely related to analytics and all of this stuff. What type of analytical decision was made with this? Right? You can't say, oh, we're gonna go for it, in Cleveland, right? Earlier in the year, what was it, week 5, whatever, right? We're gonna go for it on what was it, 4th and 10 or whatever it was, right? Instead of kicking the field goal, right? Instead of kicking the field goal and just or punting the ball and no, it was they had to punt the ball and they would have made Jacoby Brissett go 90 plus yards. Instead of doing that, let's give him a short field because analytics says so. And that's what he said, and that's what all the Staley defenders said. Oh, analytics said that it was a good position to go, right? Go for it on 4th and whatever it was, 4th and 6, 4th and 7, whatever it was, right? That's what the analytics said. What did the analytics say about week 18, a game that doesn't matter, where you should be pretty much resting your starters? What do the analytics say about that? Right? You can't have it both ways. Either you're an analytical guy or you're not. Right? There's no way to defend this. You're either into analytics or you're not into analytics because these decisions that were made tonight were not based in analytics whatsoever. These were all ego-based decisions made by the head coach. And he's a guy, he's willing to take these risks. And for the life of me, I just don't understand. I really, 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 really absolutely do not understand. I don't. Let's see. I'm gonna try to catch up on all of the comments here. Can't believe how late Eckler, Keenan, and Herb were in that game just to end up losing. Exactly, and that's what I said. Even taking away from it, the injuries, the Chargers didn't play well. So again, all the momentum that was built up got wiped away by a 4-win Bronco team. This is the best that Russell Wilson had played all season long. Russell Wilson was barely able to scrape 200 yards pretty much in every other game, right? He was barely able to scrape 200 yards but there was a lot of games where he didn't even throw for 200 yards, right? He looked bad. They did not look like they were in sync at all. This Broncos offense was terrible, right? Near the bottom of the league in every single category. They come out and they have I think it was 7 plays, right? They had 7 plays of like more than 40 yards. What type of momentum are you trying to get with that? Like, it did not make sense. It didn't make sense on the injury front to play this game. And then once you see your defense getting roasted, there goes your momentum. There goes your momentum. Like, the win-loss thing doesn't really matter. Obviously, it doesn't matter because the Chargers are still the 5th seed. But if you're just looking at what the Jaguars can use to look at, right? If they can look at tape and say, this is the most recent outing of the Chargers defense. This is what Russell Wilson and company did. The Jaguars have a much better offense than the Broncos do, right? Even though the Jaguars offense hasn't been playing the best, they have a much better offense. Trevor Lawrence is a way better quarterback at this point right now in his career than Russell Wilson is. They can do things on offense that this Broncos team can't. And the Broncos, who can't do really anything on offense, roasted the shit out of this Charger defense. That's why it didn't make sense on both fronts. You got both things. You had, this is a literal adding insult to injury moment, right? You got injury. Obviously, you got big injuries in this game, and you got insulted, and you got dunked on all game long. So it does not make sense. It just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense, man. It just does not make sense. There's no way, no how. Nobody can defend this. Nobody can defend this at all. I'm just like, oh man. I just don't. I don't. And I think Staley's problem. I think it's the ego. I'm pretty sure it's the ego thing. Let's see. You're overreacting. Calm down. Staley ain't going anywhere, bro. If the Chargers are not able to win this game next week because they should be favored against Jacksonville. The Chargers are the better team. From 1 to 53, they are the better team. If they don't win this game in Jacksonville next week, and if Mike Williams doesn't play, and if the offense can't get going like it was, within the past couple of weeks or whatever, his job should be evaluated. It really should. His job should be evaluated. You cannot do all of this and then make these types of decisions. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. And here is the thing about this too, is that I think Brandon Staley's problem is he's trying to reinvent the wheel as a coach. He's a young head coach. This is his second year as a head coach. Overall, like his seventh year in the NFL in total. Seventh year in total in the NFL. You're not going to reinvent the wheel, right? You're not going to reinvent the wheel. These coaching decisions, right? Resting your starters, this has worked for Bill Parcells. This has worked for Bill Belichick, right? This has worked for Andy Reid. This has worked for, even if you want to go all the way back, go all the way back, right? This has worked for Don Shula. These decisions have worked for the best coaches. John Madden. These decisions have worked for the best coaches that have ever. Chuck Noll, anybody else you want to name. These coaching decisions have worked for these guys. The best coaches that have ever graced NFL sidelines. That's who these decisions have worked for. If these decisions can't work for you, Staley, you're just not a good coach. These are smart decisions that should be made. And if decisions like this get made by coaches who are far and above superior than Brandon Staley in every single way, why isn't Brandon Staley making these same decisions? That is my question. If Belichick can make these decisions, if Andy Reid can make these decisions, right? If a Mike Tomlin can make these decisions, if all of the great coaches who ever coached in this league, if they can all make these decisions, why can't Brandon Staley make these decisions? I don't understand. Is he smarter than all of these coaches combined? There's no way. No, he's not. He's not. He's not. He might be a bright guy, yes, but is he smarter? Does he see the game better than all of these multiple time Super Bowl winning coaches? No, he doesn't. He's trying to reinvent the wheel and he's trying to do things on his own terms. And that shit doesn't work. It doesn't work. You got a guy in Las Vegas who's trying to do things on his own terms. It doesn't work. This stuff has worked for centuries, for freaking decades. Why not use it? I don't understand. I just don't. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So yes, I think his job should be up for question. If you cannot have a coach, I don't care how good you are when it comes to X's and O's. I don't care if you understand the game at a very micro level, right? At a cellular level. If you can understand every blade of grass on the field, I don't give a shit. If you can't make the decisions, the easy decisions like that, let's say, hey, let's not risk our starters, right? Let's not risk any injuries, right? Let's not risk any more injuries to guys who have already been injured. If you can't make that decision, you don't really belong in the NFL. It doesn't matter how good you are on X and O. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. If you can't make that decision, you don't belong on the NFL sideline. So it's simple. It's very, very simple. And this is the second time that we have been here before. Justin Herbert, what happened in week 2? Justin Herbert got his ribs smashed, fucked up, right? Couldn't really do anything at all that week. And I'm not just talking about football. He couldn't do life things that week. He had trouble getting up out of bed. And he was in the game down 38-10 against Jacksonville in week 3. Like, we've been here before. How many times are we going to see this before we say, maybe he shouldn't be doing this? How many times do we need to see this? What was gained in week 3 against Jacksonville? Nothing, right? Justin Herbert shouldn't have even played that week. He shouldn't have played that week. They still decided to play him. What was gained? Nothing. An ass whooping was gained. And we bore the brunt of the ass whooping. We didn't give it out. We took the ass whooping. That's all that was gained. What was gained today? Nothing besides injury. So again, Staley puts pressure on himself by trying to be the smartest guy in the room. You cannot win this way. You just can't. You cannot be the smartest guy in the room. You cannot. Again, these coaching decisions have been made by coaches who have won multiple Super Bowls, who are Hall of Famers, right? Coaches who have shepherded franchises to a bunch of success, These coaching decisions get made by those guys. If those coaching decisions are good enough for them, then they are good enough for us. Therefore, they should be made. And if they're not being made, then you should evaluate the position. That's all I'm saying. It just doesn't make sense. It just don't make sense. It does not make sense. It's really, oh man, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad stuff. It is bad stuff. Very, very bad stuff. And I'm just saying things, you have to look at things from you have to step back and look at the bigger picture here. Because yes, we've had success the past month. The Chargers have gotten, gotten back to what they should be, right, the past month. But again, something like this comes up, the right decision has to be made, because this can end your season. A game like today could have ended our season. All it would have took is somebody rolling up Justin Herbert, and it would have been done. It would have been done. And if that happened, I don't even think Staley probably would have made it to tomorrow. If Herbert got hurt today, Staley would not have made it to tomorrow. All it takes is somebody rolling him up. Broken ankle. It didn't have to be anything serious. Broken ankle, even a hairline fracture in his leg or ankle or something like that. He's done. He's done for the rest of the season, right? Playoffs are next week, whatever, right? So these decisions are very, very risky with no return, no reward. Um, it it just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. It does. I'm I'm very, very disappointed. Honestly disappointed. And now you have given Jacksonville a lot of bad tape. You have given them a lot to go on. And this is a struggling Jacksonville team too. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit more as the week goes on. But I thought coming into it before kickoff, I thought, okay, we got Jacksonville. I think this is the best matchup that the Chargers could possibly have, because before the game today, before the outcome of today, you had a team an entire team, right? All three phases, the Chargers, right? Offense, defense, special teams going up. Jacksonville, even though they've been winning, right? Their defense has been playing, you know, a little better than their offense has over the past month, right? In just in total, in general, right? So you had a team kind of going up here as an entire team, and then Jacksonville's kind of, and they're a little sputtering. And we seen they sputter last night too against Tennessee. And obviously the Tennessee offense isn't close to what the Chargers have on offense. But that's when the Chargers are healthy. That's when Mike Williams is there. That's when Keenan Allen's there. That's when everybody is on the field. That's when play calling is good. That's when all of this stuff is, you know, cooking and running at a optimal level. But with injuries, we've seen what happened. We've seen what happened. This is a scary part about it too. I don't understand the a lot of the Charger fans, man. If you're not worried about Mike Williams and him not playing or whatever, if you think we can beat the Jaguars without Mike Williams, I just don't. I don't think we can. I honestly don't think we can. We've seen what this team looked like without Mike Williams, and it's just not. That guy is different. He presents matchup nightmares for a lot of defenses. He cannot be. He can't be guarded one on one, basically, right? You got to have somebody shading him, and if he is one on one, you got to give him the ball every single time, right? That's just who Mike Williams is. You can't really, you can't guard him one on one with a safety, right? And you don't, unless you have a really big physical corner, you don't trust most corners going up one on one against Mike Williams. He's a matchup night, even when he's not getting the ball. If he has 4 or 5 catches, right, for I don't know, let's say he just has 4 catches for like 55 yards or something like that. Is still allowing Keenan Allen to work underneath. You can't really successfully double team Keenan Allen. And then you have your tight ends who are able to run over the middle of the field and, pretty much run wide open, unimpeded, right? It allows things to work down the field for the Chargers offense. If you have Mike Williams, if you don't have Mike Williams, you can't do anything that you want to do. We've seen DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter is nothing close to what Mike Williams is. DeAndre Carter is a journeyman. The Chargers are his 9th team. And you don't go around being on 9 teams for no reason, right? I mean, he's an okay special teams guy, but as far as him being a receiver, he's not good. So if you think that the Chargers are going to just march into Jacksonville and just put up a bunch of points without Mike Williams, you got another thing coming. Like, it's just not. The Chargers are not this team that is going to go everywhere and, especially in the playoffs, and think that they're going to knock off teams like this, not being fully prepared and not being healthy, right? As healthy as you can be. And that's the sad part about this is this was the healthiest that the Chargers had been in a very, very long time. Coming into this game, the healthiest. You know, when you look at the practice report, the injury report from Friday, Thursday, and Friday, you see guys listed on it, but everybody is participating, either full or limited. You're right. There's nobody who's in limbo or maybe not going to play. This was the healthiest that the Chargers have been all season long. And now to possibly lose Mike Williams, we don't know. We're not going to know. We're not going to know a lot of information until possibly tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, whatever. I don't know. They'll have to run some tests and all that stuff. Hopefully, it's nothing bad. I hope that it's nothing serious, but we're not going to know for sure. But why even take the risk, though? Why even take the risk is my question. Why take the risk? There's no legitimate answer as to why you should take that risk. That's all I'm saying here. That is all I'm saying. And if you got a guy who is like Staley and who can't understand that, do you have any business on the NFL sideline? That's all I'm saying. That's really all I'm saying, man. It's crazy. Oh man, it is crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's see. Jerry says, "I'm glad it turned out this way. Now we know who's really coaching. No matter what the outcome is, we need change." I can't argue with that. I honestly cannot argue with that at all. I cannot argue with that. Um, let's see. Official business. We're gonna have to smack them early. We can't. We're not smacking nobody without Mike Williams. That's just that's just the reality of the situation. We're not smacking nobody without Mike Williams. We you can hope to win and get lucky to win a game without Mike Williams, but you're not having any type of success in the playoffs without Mike Williams. I just don't. You can't, because at that point, after you double key in, who is the go-to guy? It's not DeAndre Carter. It's certainly not Gerald Everett. You see him dropping passes. You can't go to him. You can't rely on him. Donald Parham, he's a limited player, right? He plays limited snaps. He's not in there every single snap. So who is the go-to guy, right? Besides Austin Eckler out of the backfield. And it's nice, but he's not. You're not going to be able to put pressure on defenses, and you're not going to be able to seriously compete in a playoff game throwing to Austin Eckler all game out the backfield. It's just not going to work. It's just not. That type of stuff doesn't typically work in the playoffs. You got to be able to put pressure on defenses. You got to hit some big plays, and you got to be good in the red zone. And if you don't have a Mike Williams, then there's really no legitimate, realistic way that you can do that. And for him to go down to that again, I hope it's not serious, but damn, man, it's not a good. This is not a good look. This ain't a good look for Brandon Staley at all. I imagine that he's going to have a ton of. I haven't really. I've kind of peeked here on Twitter. I tweeted a couple of times during the game, but I haven't really really looked at it a lot. But I can imagine all of the criticism that he's going to have, man. Tomorrow, the shows, the morning shows. I mean, he's got it coming. He definitely has it coming, and honestly, he deserves it. And he pretty much has put a target on his back. Now, at this point, again, if things go wrong, if things go haywire in Jacksonville next week, right? And I'm not, let's knock on some wood here. What happens if the Chargers get blown out the same way they did in week 3 against Jacksonville, right? And you don't have a Mike Williams, you don't have a Bosa. There are injuries that have happened in week 18, right? How does that look? I don't know. I'm just saying that, trying to cover all possibilities here. But that's a horrible, horrible, horrible look. Yeah, I don't. Okay, I hope everything works out for the best. But damn, if something like that were to happen, I could not. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what what would be coming Staley's way. To top it off, Lombardi can't put together anything without 81. Yes, and that too. You can't game plan. You can't really game plan without him like that too. And obviously Lombardi is not the best offensive coordinator. He's nowhere near the top, but it makes his job. I think he is. I think his job is already hard enough, right? Because this offensive scheme isn't the best scheme for the Chargers to be running. So Lombardi's job is hard enough, and he's not that great at it. You take out Mike Williams, and now what do you have? Like it's hard. It's definitely hard to put together a game plan that is going to be able to try to match points with Jacksonville, right? Who I expect them to get back on track. They had a bad game last night, but I expect them to get back on track. I don't expect Jacksonville to just go out there and score 13, 16 points. They got weapons. They got weapons. And Trevor Lawrence is a damn good quarterback. They got weapons. They're going to get their act together. They're going to be at home. Once they settle into the game and all of that stuff, they're going to be able to score points. The Chargers are going to have to match points with a team like that. And can you do that without Mike Williams? Can you put up 34 points on Mike Williams? That's the question. We don't know the answer to this. We've seen what Chargers were without him in the little stretch. They did not do. So I just don't think that they can. And on the road in a playoff game, win or go home situation, a lot of pressure. I just don't think that they can. So it makes the injury today a lot worse. Again, hopefully it's not serious. I hope that he's able to play. Even if he's not 100%, maybe if he's just 80, 85%, at least he can provide that decoy out there. But there's a lot of pressure right now. There really is. Seems like Staley only learns when he makes a mistake. All those mistakes have cost us these 2 seasons. They have, and they've been unnecessary mistakes. They have been unforced mistakes. These are like logistical mistakes that I don't ever think that I've seen a coach make. And you can't really make these mistakes. You make these mistakes when you are a coach, Staley. You can't, because he hasn't built enough clout. He hasn't built up enough success, right? He don't have any Super Bowls. He hasn't been to AFC title games, right? He doesn't have any, he doesn't have any gravitas. He's a new coach. So these are decisions, right? If a Belichick was making them, if maybe Mike Tomlin was making them, if Andy Reid was making them, right? You say, okay, guy had success. He's had a lot of success. He's won a lot of games. He's been to Super Bowls. He has all of this success. He has all of this stuff behind his name. His resume is filled to the brim, right? He is bona fide, coaching, legend, right? You can get away with that. But if you're not one of those guys, you can't really coach this way. And I think that's kind of the thing that he has to learn. You can't coach this way if you are not one of those guys. If you're not one of those guys, you can't coach this way. You just can't. You can't, because you put so much undue pressure on yourself. And when you're doing that, you put the spotlight on you. If you're not taking care of business, right? If you're not taking care of business, it's going to be pointed out. You are going to be brought to the front. All of your transgressions are going to be read, and everybody is going to pile on you. And that's what Brandon Staley has created for himself, making these decisions. It's just so damn like, like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Like, what are you thinking about? It just, to me, again, he's trying to reinvent the wheel, but it's just not working out, man. It's just not working out. It's just not. We need our whole squad for the postseason. We do. We need everybody that we can get. We need all hands on deck. This is a talented team, but you're going to need everybody. You're going to need as many talented players on the field as you can get. You're not the offensive and defensive scheme. We're not a team that you can just bring guys up and plug them in. That's not the way this team is built. This team is built around star power, right? Having stars, offense, defense. This is built around star power. This is not a plug and play type of thing, right? This is not. We're not the 49ers. This is not a Shanahan run team, right? You can bring guys in. Everybody's up time, right? Like the squad guys, drafted guys, 7th-round quarterbacks. They plug in, right? That system, a plug and play system. The Chargers don't have a plug and play system. This is all built around Justin Herbert. This is all built around Derwin James. It's built around those two guys. So if you have significant injuries to a Mike Williams, who is a very, very, very big weapon for Justin Herbert, you can't bring a guy up and plug him in. There's just no way to do it. There's no successful way to do it. You just have to try to make do with what you have. But again, we don't have the team where you can just bring up guys and plug and play. This is not a plug and play. This is a star power built type of team, right? It's similar to the Rams last year, right? You can't plug and play, right? They had a lot of stars on their team. They obviously won the Super Bowl, but they lost a lot of guys, but they still got the same coaching staff and all of that stuff. They brought up a lot of guys, but you can't plug and play because that's not the way that the team is built. That's not the way the system works over there. You have to have stars, and the way the way that we are built, you have to have stars. You have to have stars to have success. If you don't have stars, you're not going to have success. So going into the playoffs, if we don't have our stars, we're not going to have success. It's a very, very simple proposition. We've seen it already. And this is a fact. This is not just my opinion. This is a fact. We've seen it, throughout the middle of the season. When we have our stars and when we are playing, semi healthy, we're okay. If we don't have the stars, we're not gonna do anything. It's very, very simple proposition. I'm tired of Butterfinger. Yeah, he got that huge third down pass wide open. He's been doing that all season long. The Chargers are third in drops, in most drops this year. It's just bad. It's bad. Dropped touchdowns, dropped first downs, dropped big plays. However many yards that Herbert has, he should have way more. He should have more touchdowns, all of that stuff. He's got the most drops. So, and yeah, a lot of it has been Gerald Everett, the tight end position. That's why I say we need to draft the tight end. I'm gonna get to a lot of the draft stuff in the offseason as well too. I've been doing some research and conducting some of the necessary research to make those videos, but I am going to get into that in the offseason. The Chargers got to draft a tight end. There's no option now. We need more production from the tight end position. Brandon Staley just finished with the press conference, and when asked if Mike Williams could have returned to the game, Staley stated possibly. That doesn't say much. He obviously is not going to say, oh no, he can't return or whatever. They're going to play this the PR way. I think he knows that he fucked up, but at this point right now, he's not going to come out and say that, right? He's not going to do that. The PR game, and if Mike Williams can't play, I think they're going to drag it out, and I think they're going to try to make it a game time decision and all of this stuff, whatever. But if he can't play, then they will drag this thing out. Not going to come out tomorrow or Tuesday. I honestly, because it will give everybody a lot of fodder to really get into Brandon Staley's ass all week long up until the game, when whether it's Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But I don't think we're going to hear anything definitive on Mike Williams until possibly later on in the week. It just doesn't make sense for them to rule him out now and then have everybody pile on, and then now you're really putting the microscope on Brandon Staley and the Chargers and their performance in the playoff game. So I expect to hear Mike Williams news, the definitive news. I expect to hear that later on in the week, because right now it just doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Toby said Chargers were given a freebie game to rest, and they get worse. Yeah. Only the way the Chargers can do it, man. Only the way. This franchise is snake bitten. I just don't understand. Staley must have a split danger, with Russ. Oh man, it's just too much, man. It's too much. Mike Will is too fragile for 20 mil. I don't know, man. It's a tough game. It's a very, very tough game. It's not easy. It's not ballet out there. He doesn't just get injured. He doesn't just get injured like that. The injury that he had earlier this season, that was a freak injury, and I don't think that had anything to do with how he's built or his injury prone. Like, bent all the way back. I seen it happen. I was, he's going to be out the rest of the season. I think that he was this season. So I don't know. I think that was just a fluky thing that happened earlier this season. He stayed healthy all of last season. So he's not a guy. He doesn't just go down, at the sign of a hit. I don't think he's that fragile. When you're in position, especially he's been hurt. All the guys who have been injured this season really should not have been playing, or they should have been playing for a quarter and they should have been done. If you've been injured this season, you should have been done. And even with the Kenneth Murray thing, right? He's been a guy that has been up and down, but he had some injury stuff going on last year, right? He's had injury stuff in his career. So if you have had any type of injuries, or if you've had like a lingering type of injury or whatever, you should have been the first guy to be sat down. It should have been no question, right? No questions should have been had about sitting guys down who have passed prior injuries. Again, it just to risk in a game that is nothing, because the playoff game is over, or once the season's over, nobody's gonna look at week 18. Nobody's gonna give you credit for week 18. Nobody's gonna give a shit. Nobody is going to care, because nothing changed. The Chargers were still the 5th seed. The Broncos still didn't make the playoffs. The didn't. So look at that. All you're gonna see on paper from this in the 20 season, Chargers L. It's not gonna say anything else. Like, they made the playoffs, but nothing changed. So if you're looking at like the summary of the season, this game is completely forgettable. It's completely forgettable, because from the start of the season, week 1, all the way down, the Chargers, they qualified for the playoffs. They made the playoffs. Now, what are they going to do in the playoffs? We don't know yet, but it's going to pretty much start and end there. But week 18 is going to be completely forgotten about, and it's not going to be thought of, because the outcome of the game didn't change anything in the playoffs. It didn't change anything. It didn't change their chances. It didn't change their seeding. This outcome meant nothing. So at the end of the day, like, this was a completely forgettable game. And I think if you're a coach and, yes, you want your team to be ready and all of this stuff for the playoffs, you want them to still have some good momentum, but you have to remember that in the grand scheme of things, this is a forgettable game. This is the game. And this is pretty much the only game, right? Well, yeah, this is the only game this year where the outcome didn't matter. Weeks 1 through 17, the outcome matter, right? Obviously, early in the season, you got to win. You got to keep winning, because you want to, qualify for the playoffs. But as you get closer and closer to the playoffs, once you've already qualified, right? Last week it mattered for the seeding, right? Obviously, the Monday night game against Indy, that was a game you had to clinch, right? So the outcome mattered, right? The outcome last week against the Rams, it mattered, right? Because the Chargers had to win to put themselves in position for this 5 seed, right? This week outcome, nothing did matter at all. Changed out of this game. So again, the risk versus reward is not there. It's not there. It's just not there. So it just doesn't make sense to risk this. Like, this could have been a franchise changing type of loss, right? If injuries were bad, if they were bad enough, right? This could have changed the franchise. But it is what it is, man. Like, this is who Brandon Staley is. He must have a gambling problem or something like that. I don't know. It's just for him to make these decisions arbitrarily with no forethought, no second thought. I don't know, man. It's disappointing to see. Brandon Staley just said that Mike Williams could have possibly returned to the game, so I believe he will play next week. Back stinker sucks. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But is he going to be 100%? And another thing you got to factor in: do the Chargers play on Saturday? Do they play on Sunday? If they play on Saturday, it's going to be a short week. How much practice does Mike Williams get in? We don't know. These things, once something like that happens, it can snowball and get worse. So we don't know. It's not just going to be like he can just go out there and play right away, right? And if it is just a back stinger, like I've had one of those before while playing football, and you're sore for several days. So how much practice time is he able to get? Does he have to have a shot before he plays or whatever? Like, there's a lot of things that you can really do account when it comes to something like this. But I mean, only time will tell. Only time will tell how this happens. Let's see, still got this. I just joined the live. My question: do you think that this loss will ruin our momentum against the Jags? It could possibly. It could possibly, man. It could possibly. It could possibly look. I don't know. Like, if this could be a situation where a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson takes advantage of a younger coach in Brandon Staley who played his hand, right? Who played the wrong hand. Again, I said this earlier, the live, take this from injuries, right? If you just take it away and you say the Chargers didn't play well, right? And they obviously put bad tape out there. they got torched. The defense got torched today. There's no way around it. They were bad against a bad offense, right? So if you're looking at a standpoint of Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach, beat Belichick in the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, a bad quarterback who is now trash. You see that, right? So that makes I give Doug Peterson even more props for that because he won with Nick Foles, who is trash. Nick Foles has been trash before and after. He was just that little run. He was spectacular. But I give a lot of credit. I give most of the credit to Doug Peterson for that. If you're looking at it from that standpoint, right, this could be a dangerous game because Doug Peterson is going to pop tape on. He's going to be looking at what the Broncos did, what kind of concepts they ran, how creative they were, and how they were able to beat the Chargers deep because they got beat deep. And again, they got torched. And the thing about it, too, is that they don't run the same offense, but they do run similar offense, right? Doug Peterson, West Coast offense, obviously learned it from Andy Reid, right? He is a heavy West Coast offense coach, right? We've known this for a long time. And when you look at Jacksonville, obviously West Coast offense influence. That's why Trevor Lawrence has gotten better, right? He's starting to understand what defenses are trying to do to him, and he understands the offense, right? He understands what Doug Peterson wants him to do. He's gotten better, right? That's the West Coast offense. The Broncos run something similar. Now, it's not the same because Russell Wilson does do the runaround crap a lot, run around, hold the ball. But as far as concepts go, this is a similar offense. So Doug Peterson can pop on tape, look at it, and know exactly what concept the Broncos are running because he runs a similar offense, right? He runs a similar offense, and he's developed it. He's developed his offense with several different quarterbacks, Wentz, Foles, and now he has a younger quarterback in Lawrence. So he knows what he's doing, right? He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to attack a weakness of a defense. And I think that is the thing to worry about outside of injuries. He knows how to attack the weakness of a defense, and the Chargers put a lot of weaknesses today. They put a lot of weaknesses on it because if this game plan is similar, if the Jaguars game plan is similar to what the Broncos did today, I think the Chargers might be in trouble. If you don't get home and if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, and the Chargers they were still able to get pressure on Russell Wilson. They sacked him a few times, but he was able to create outside of the pocket. And if you're just looking at quarterbacks, right, again, Trevor Lawrence is better than Russell Wilson. He doesn't run around and hold the ball like Russell Wilson, but he's not a statue in the pocket. He can get out on the move. They can move the pocket for him. He can get out. He can do everything. He can make all the throws down the field, right? I said it, what was it, last week? He's like a mini Justin Herbert. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, Doug Peterson can take a lot from this Charger performance today. And he can take a lot from it, and he can put a lot of stock in it because these were the starters playing. Right, this would be a tape that you really couldn't watch, right? This would be a tape that maybe you could watch and maybe you could take a few things away if backups were playing, but these were starters. Asante Samuel Jr. was getting burned today. He got burned several times. Derwin James got burned several times. Gilman got burned several times. Adderley got burned a bunch of times too. Like, these are the starters. These same guys who are getting burned today are going to be the same guys lining up on the first play of the game in Jacksonville next week. So you can take a lot away from this game if you are looking at it. And Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning coach. So this is like you are playing with fire on several different. I've already got the injury thing. Do you want to give a coach who has more experience than you, a coach who is better, right? You won't give a coach that much, do you want to give him that much more preparation material going into a playoff game? I just don't think you want to do that. That's why taking the starters out, not playing them or playing them for a quarter or whatever, it not only is great for their health, right? But it's also a gamesman move, right? Because Peterson already knew before kickoff, we are playing the Chargers next week. Let me tune into this game. Let me watch and see what's going on, right? Let me try to take away something here. Let me try to gain an edge, right? Because they're already home preparing for this Charger team. The gamesmanship move would be for, Brandon Staley to not play the starters at all or play them for a quarter, right? Play them for a quarter and, you're running scripted stuff at that point. So there's not a whole lot you can take away from either side of the ball, right? Offense, defense, whatever. There's not a whole lot you can take away from just the first quarter, right? You need to know what's going to be called in pressure situations, right? 3rd and 7 in the third quarter, right? What's going to be called? What attendance? What are that? That's the type of stuff you take away from this game. And Peter from the, it's a bad move, just strategy wise, gamesmanship. Doug Peterson, Super Bowl again, beat Belichick, greatest coach of all time. Beat him in the Super Bowl. Beat him in the Super Bowl with or less talented quarterback that he has now. They can next week. They can beat us. The strength when you get who knows off like that, who comes from the Andy Reid tree, who's able to scheme up some really cool shit, and who's able to get guys open, and who's able to do a lot of different things on the offensive side of the ball. And he can call anything now because he has no limits. He doesn't have a Nick Foles. He has a Trevor Lawrence. He has a guy who is 6'6", big, strong arm, can move out of the pocket, can throw going to his left or right. He can run the ball a little bit too. He can do everything. The playbook is completely opened up. So now you have given him a lot of preparation material. Now the wheels in his mind are spinning. Maybe I wasn't going to go after Asante Samuel. Maybe I wasn't going to go after Michael Davis. But after I seen Russell Wilson and that shitty offense, after I seen them attack you down the field and not be scared, maybe I'm going to change some things up. Maybe we're going to get a little bit more aggressive. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a bad gamesmanship move on Brandon Staley's part. Away from the injuries, this is bad gamesmanship. Is you just don't do it. You don't do it. Like, everybody talks about the preseason, right? Nobody runs any of their offense in the preseason, right? You have a bunch of shit plays that you don't really run, right? For preseason games, right? There's shit plays that you go over the day before a game, right? And they may or may not be something you run in the regular season, right? Because you don't want to give anybody any extra material to prepare for you, right? To make it harder for you to stop you. That's exactly what the Chargers did today. And that's why this was not a good move. It's not a good move. I've already covered that. It's not a good move, especially when you're going up against a coach. A lot. He has a lot of experience. Doug Peterson has a lot of experience, man. He has a lot of experience. So I don't know. A lot is a lot. There's a lot left to be seen, but it's just not a good gamesmanship move. Again, Belichick doesn't do this. You see all the other great coaches. Andy Reid doesn't do this. None of the other great coaches in the league do this type of stuff. You just don't give away your shit like that. It's just it's. We'll see. Well, see what happens. We'll see what. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on all of these comments here. Let's see. Staley took a calculated risk to get more work in with the starters, and it probably made sense since the team is still struggling. It didn't make any sense at all because the team was not struggling. They were good. They gave up 13 points during the win streak. The 4-game win streak, the Chargers were giving up the least points in football, the least amount of yards in football. Getting those guys out of there after the first quarter would have been perfect because even though, yes, if they would have gave up 30 points with the backups, whatever, those are not real stats, right? Everybody would acknowledge that. Okay, they played the backup, so that doesn't really count. So we can put more stock into the 4-game winning streak than the 1 game that they had the backups in. But this wasn't the backups in. The were getting burnt. It didn't look good. It wasn't, again, it's not a gameship move. If this is something you don't see a great coach in the league doing, I question it. And that's just it is what it is. Would a Sean Payton do this? No, right? Again, would Andy Reid do this? No. Would any of the Super Bowl winning coaches do this? No, they wouldn't. So I just can't. I don't know, man. I just can't defend it. You just cannot defend it. You can't defend it at all. Somebody says, I think let's see. I think Chargers versus Jaguars getting the Monday night game. That would be an ideal situation for Mike Williams if he is not ready to go. The Monday night game would be very good. Wow. Okay. So we got a comment here from LA. It says Daniel Popper just tweeted Mike Williams just had to be helped out of the locker room to the bus. Could not walk on his own. Huh. Wow. Did he really tweet that? I'm gonna check and see. So if that's the case, guys, this ain't looking good, man. This is not looking good at all. At all. Oh boy. Let's see. Let me go to Poppers. Yeah, he just tweeted this. He just tweeted this about 20 minutes ago. He tweeted about 20 minutes ago. So Daniel Popper, this is his verified account, Daniel Popper, being the beat reporter, just tweeted Mike Williams 20 minutes ago, 5:13 p.m. It is now 5:33, so exactly 20 minutes ago. Mike Williams just had to be helped out of the locker room to the bus. Could not walk on his own. And so Brandon Staley said that he could have went back into the game if he needed to. Brandon Staley said possibly. I just heard the comment. Somebody left a comment. So no, Mike Williams. Okay, you guys defending Brandon Staley. You guys think you know what you're talking about. Again, would an Andy Reid do this? Would a good coach do this? Would a Super Bowl winning coach do this? You now your best offensive matchup player is walking to the bus. He needs to be helped to the bus. He can't walk on his own. Your best player, your best matchup player. All you guys who are not panicking, I mean, hey, I give you credit, but this ain't looking good. This ain't looking good at all. This is not looking good at all. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is some bad stuff. Here's another tweet from Nick Cothrell. I believe he covers the team too. I think just for a different publication. But Brandon Staley said Mike Williams possibly could have returned to the game. So how could Mike Williams have possibly returned to the game if he 20 minutes ago, he couldn't walk to the bus on his own. He had to be helped. How? Oh, boy. Man, this is not good. Even if it's not serious, not being able to walk to the bus on your own right now with the playoff game, the intensity and the advanced level of preparation going into the playoff game that is going to be happening in a week, possibly 6 days. We don't know. This is not looking good, guys. This is bad. This is bad stuff. Bad stuff. I can't. I can't. I just can't. If you find a way to defend this, let me know. I just cannot. You can't. You can't. You lose your best matchup offensive player in a meaningless game. Wow. That is just ooh, that's something else. I just Mark James, bro. I just just when I was ready to throw my support story, Staley takes a maximum risk for minimum rewards, and he deserves all the smoke. Yes, he does. Just like I will say, anybody telling me that I was overreacting for saying that his job could possibly be on the line for this, I don't think I'm overreacting. I honestly don't. Man, it's just not good. This ain't good. Man, this ain't good. This is not good. It ain't good, man. Oh boy. Man. Yeah, because somebody said let's not trip. I'm not tripping. Our best wide receiver, our most explosive wide receiver, our best matchup offensive weapon is he needs help walking to the bus. I'm not tripping. I'm just saying we've seen what we were without him. So if I'm tripping, then I guess I'm tripping. But you tripping? If you're not worried, you're tripping because I just don't. I just don't. I just don't. Man. This is bad. This is bad. This is this is terrible. Shit, this is terrible, man. This is bad. This is bad stuff. This is bad stuff, guys. I don't, and I'm trying to get like caught up with the comments. So I just am seeing this. So this is just my raw reaction. But damn, this is bad. This is awful. This is awful. This is awful. Awful. This is bad stuff. Um, yeah, Staley is indeed taking a lot of heat from every direction, and at this point right now, it's I think it's warranted. You can't lose your best offensive weapon in a meaningless game. That just you just can't do. You cannot. You can't. You can't. You can't. There's no excuses for it. No justifying it. You just can't. Wow. Wow. This is man. I just the roller coaster that this season has been. I mean, damn. Like there is. I cannot ever think of a Charger season being this up and like literally up and down. I mean, we can say really up and down, from previous seasons, but this is literally an up and down season. I mean, we was just riding high just last week after the Rams game, but this is just something. I mean, man, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I really don't. There's nothing I can say that's. Ugh. Staley's excuse was they didn't have the bodies to rest starters. They literally could have forfeited the game and had a better outcome today. Yeah, but you have to prepare. You have to know coming into this week, right? You're looking at the Baltimore and Cincinnati game, right? So you knew before you kicked off if you were going to be the 5 seed or not, right? So you knew that if you won this game, you're going to be the 5 seed regardless, right? But you knew before kickoff that Baltimore, Cincinnati, that thing was going to go final, and the likelihood of Baltimore winning was very low. They were on their third quarterback. Tyler Huntley didn't play. Obviously, Lamar Jackson didn't play. But you know, okay, are these guys? Is Anthony Brown, right? He's a former Oregon quarterback, third quarterback on the Ravens depth chart. Are they and the injury ravaged Ravens going to go into Cincinnati, and are they going to what's the likelihood of them beating the Bengals, right? You have to know that going into the week. All of this has been out there. None of it's been a secret. So you have to know it going into a week. So now is the time to elevate some practice squad guys or whatever, right? Now is the time to do that. Now is the time to make some roster moves, knowing that you're probably going to have to play some guys that haven't played all season long because we want to rest our starters. That would be the smart thing to do. That's what other smart organizations do. That's what other smart head coaches do. You don't go into a game saying, man, we don't have enough bodies. Well, guess we just got to play the starters. No, you make enough bodies. Go get enough bodies. Shit, go to Home Depot and get some bodies if you need to. Go get some day workers. Have them sign up. Make them NFL players for the day. Fuck, just throw anybody because this game doesn't matter. Care. That's no excuse. No excuse at all. And for Brandon Staley to come out and say that and to think that that is a viable excuse when year after year after year, we have seen teams in similar positions go out and get bodies, go out and sign guys off practice squads. You game and your ass and we still ask afterward, right? You can do that. You can 100% do that. You can absolutely do that. You knew coming into it there was a good possibility that Baltimore was going to lose today. The third string quarterback against the Bengals who are obviously going to play their starter because the Bengals were playing for weren't just the division was already decided. They were playing for possibly the number 2 seed because if the Bills had any drop off, they were going to fall right up into that number 2 seed. So they were coming out and they were playing for seeding. They had a lot to play for. They were going to play all of their starters and they were going to go full, this was a full 100% effort. Cincinnati was not, they didn't, and then plus they didn't end up playing too. They had the whole DeMar Hamlin thing happen last Monday night, so they didn't even get a full game in. So they wanted to come out, play their starters. They wanted to come out and get ready. They were trying to get ready. They were wanting to play their starters. They were going to go. This is going to be a full effort. You knew Cincinnati was going to come out. You knew Baltimore is not, the healthiest team, and they are on their third string quarterback. You knew that they were not going to be able to really compete with Cincinnati. We knew this going in. So I knew what this was going to be going in. If you're the coach, you have to know this. You got to bring people up. Oh, we don't have enough bodies. Yeah, that's ridiculous. You can make as many roster moves as you want to throughout the week. There's no limitation on roster moves that you can make throughout the week. You can make as many as you want. As long as you have 53 on the roster, right? And as long as you have 47 suited up on game day, you can make as many roster moves as you want. There's no rules on that. So you can prepare yourself to get ready for a situation where a lot of guys who typically don't play are going to have to play. They're going to have to eat up they're going to have to play a lot of the 60 minutes, right? Because you want to get out of there as healthy as you possibly can to prepare yourself for that situation. And if you're not, then this malfeasance. Absolutely ridiculous. That's crazy. I can't believe Staley said this though. It's not going to be the Chargers versus Jags. It's Staley versus their coach. We know what time it is. Right. Just being a dead at this, they lost the game. Players done. But we know about the Williams thing. This is not a horse. The Williams thing is everybody was hoping. I seen people talking about maybe it was a stinger or something like that. But I've had a stinger, and I didn't need help walking to the bus after the game. Now, I'm not an NFL player or anything like that, but I didn't need help walking to the bus. So that just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. They're going to get destroyed next. But I hope not. I hope that he is. I hope that he's ready to go. I hope Mike Williams is ready to go. We don't know. We're not going to know until, again, I don't think we're going to hear anything definitive unless he has like a serious injury. Then yes, they might come out and just let the cat out the bag. But if it's not a super serious injury, if the X-rays and MRIs are clear and stuff, they might keep, kicking the can down the road until they actually have to list him on the practice report, until they actually have to make a determination on whether he's going to play or not. But my guess is that you don't hear it right away. I think they know that this is a bad PR situation. They know that the Chargers are going to get dragged through the coals. Brandon Staley is going to get drugged through the coals all along. National media, and that's the thing with the players too. No other teams to talk about. Raiders are going to be talked about. All the other teams, Broncos, not going to get talked about. The only teams getting talked about now are the teams in the playoffs, and there's only so many of those. So now your spotlight is now bigger. So any decisions like this that you make, any stupid stuff you do, is now going to be magnified. So there's going to be a lot of talk this week. Brandon Staley is going to get drugged through the clock. I hope that he is able to, compartmentalize stuff and prepare the team, because damn, it's just going to be very, very, very. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get very ugly this week. Signed Deshaun Jackson. We need speed. He easily still runs a high 4.3, low 4.4. Isn't he with the Ravens? I think he's with the Ravens, right? Or did they let him go? Last time I seen him, I think he was with the Ravens. He still is. He's very, very fast, but I thought he was signed with the Ravens. If I'm wrong or whatever, let me know. But last time I seen him playing, it was with the Ravens. I think it was just like last week too. I see people saying back spasms can cause you to have trouble walking, so maybe that could explain it. Possibly that's a possibility too. Back spasms. It could be, maybe just a pulled muscle or something. I don't know. There's a possibility of, it could be like 100 things, right, with your back, especially if it's like a soft tissue type of thing. Like there's a lot of different things that it's just not looking good. It's not looking good from the PR aspect. He could play, but even just the PR aspect of Brandon Staley is just, it's bad. It's just bad. Leading up to us clinching, lightning struck with every team losing we needed, and this was the best player management situation Staley could come up with. Yeah, right. The NFL gods handed us a playoff berth. Right. I agree. The saving grace is Staley gets into the playoffs, and there were injuries, and we weren't playing all that great for a bunch of games. Yeah. There's that, but you can't mismanage this situation, and say, oh, it's okay just because we got in the playoffs. That's no excuse for it. You're coaching your decision making, all of that should be ramped up, and it should be really, really good, right? It should be getting better towards the playoffs, not worse. So I don't think that is honestly don't think that would. I don't know. I don't. I mean, maybe it could save his job. Like if the worst were to happen, right? It could save his job, but I don't know. Like just the just this whole PR night, like it's going to be bad. The Chargers are going to have to win to shut everything up, because if they don't win, then this is going to be a story that has a million legs to it, and it's going to get talked about all off season long, and it's going to be worse than the timeout thing last year, right, in Week 18 with the Raiders, right? The Staley calls the timeout and all of that stuff, right? And it was a bad situation, right? I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is even worse though. This is 100 times worse timeout. So we'll see. The Chargers have to win. That's let's just say that there's no more like space. There's no more like wiggle room for them. There's no margin of error. They must win. They must win this playoff game. They must win this playoff game. With all this stuff happening, they have to win. They have to win this playoff. I think Brett Haley knows coming into it too. You negative, what a fragile receiver he is, just a small hit for a couple of weeks. You have to play next week the way we talk, like, huh? He's not a fragile receiver. I think somebody said in here, he's played 84 out of 96 games. That's not fragile. My Williams is a fragile receiver. You don't necessarily be fragile to hurt your back. You can hurt your back on anything. I've hurt my back several times in my life, and none of them had to do with me getting hit, on a football field. Like, I've hurt my back doing like random shit, like messing around and stuff too. Like just whatever. Like you can hurt your back, you can pull the muscle in your back any type of way. It is 1,000% acceptable to injure your back on a football field. That doesn't make you fragile. That's something you can do. You can pick up a box. I remember I worked at a warehouse when I was younger, and I picked up a box with one hand. It was a light box. It was like maybe 7 to 8 pounds. I picked it up with one hand, and I ended up putting it back down, and I picked it up again, and I ended up hurting my back. Like, that's how back muscle, like that's, if you want to call it fragile, then everybody's fragile to your back, right? So on a football field and playing football, that doesn't make fragile. So to call Mike Williams fragile after his back went out, right? And we don't know what the extent of the injury is yet, but that's not a fragile thing. That's absolutely not a being fragile is like Anthony Davis in the NBA with the Lakers. Anthony Davis gets hurt multiple times every season. And it's been like that since he came into the league. That dude is fragile. Mike Williams is not fragile. He takes hits, he runs people over, he does all of that stuff. Mike Williams is a pretty damn tough dude. And I don't think he's ever had an injury that has like where he's had to have surgery or where he has been out like the rest of the season or whatever. Mike Williams is a tough guy. So no, I don't think he's fragile at all. Like, your back can give out anytime. If you're doing something, anything, whatever, you name it, and your back can go out. I've seen people's back give out on treadmills at the gym. I've seen people's back give out holding babies. Like, the back injuries are back injuries. They can happen to anybody. It literally can it's like, random, like bam, your back can go out, your back can give out. You cannot see it coming. You can feel fine. Next day, you got a big knot in your back, and you got to go get it massaged. You got to take an Epsom salt bath. There's a lot of things that can happen with your back. So it's just, it can happen in a lot of different things in life. The situation with Staley is that, knowing that you need this guy, why not just hit him, right? Why not just hit him? Knowing that this can happen, or, and not knowing that his back was going to give out, but knowing that any type of injury can happen, right? Why wouldn't you just hit him? Why would you take the chance of having him out there? Because yes, it's 100% acceptable to get injured. You have a back injury while you're getting hit hard as shit too. And the Broncos are hitting hard as shit today too. I don't know if you guys seen it, but they were popping. Those pads were popping. The CBS microphones were picking it up. They were hitting the Chargers hard as hell. So they were trying to do some damage for the Chargers going into the playoffs. But it is what it is. Like, I'm not mad at the Broncos. They're playing a football game. They're getting paid to play a football game. It's up to us to adjust to that. It's up to us to not have our best guys out there to get popped like that. But we didn't do that. So, hey, Let's see. Analytics told Staley we had a better chance of getting the fifth seed by playing the starter. Comedy week has just started. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. Bosa is not injured, and Mike Dub is having back spasms. Do you know that he's having back spasms? Do you know that? Has it been? How do you know he's having back spasms? How do you know? I just want to. I just want to know. Not as serious as you're making it. We have the same team we've had all season. How do you know that he's having back spasms though? Are you his doctor? Have you evaluated him? If you need help walking somewhere, I don't know. It could be back spasms. It could be something more serious. I don't know. I've had back spasms before. I've never helped walking anywhere. So that's just something for reference. Be serious, it didn't be. But you're saying this as you definitively. You don't know this definitively. And this is the point. We shouldn't even be in this situation where we're guessing like this. Mike Williams should be walking to the bus unscathed without being hit today. That's the point. You don't know this. You're trying to play this down like, oh, well, maybe it's just this, maybe it's just that. You don't know shit. You don't know anything. You don't know this for sure. So, yes, it could be something serious. It could be something very benign. We have no idea. The point of this whole situation is that they shouldn't even be in this situation. That's the whole entire point. It shouldn't even be here. Why is it here to begin with? Why is it here to begin with? Questioning whether your best receiver is, if he's having back spasms or if he's having something really serious. Why is it here 6 to 7 days before a playoff game? It shouldn't even be here to begin with. It should never made it here to begin with. So don't know. I don't know. You don't know shit. We just get the whole saying is that it shouldn't even be here in this situation. The fact that it's here in this situation means that Brandon Staley is a dumbass, and he shouldn't put his best players in this position for nothing, for no reason. Again, this is Charger season. The outcome doesn't matter. This is the game of Chargers season where the outcome didn't change anything. The only one, there was only one game, only one. The Chargers needed to win last week against the Rams to be in the 5th seed. They needed to win. They couldn't afford to lose or else they were going to stay in the 6th seed. They had to win that game last week and they won. So, again, this is the only game on the schedule where not a single play matter to the outcome of actually have Chargers still 5th seed, Broncos not didn't matter. This was not a game that the Chargers needed to go out and try to win, right? Especially if the game got away from them, they didn't need to. They just didn't need to. It didn't make any sense. Didn't make any sense at all. Let's see. Trying to catch up on here. Keenan said he didn't know what happened to Mike, but he said he heard something about spasms. Hopefully that's it. I hope so. I hope it's just spasms. I hope so. I hope it's just spasms. But again, those spasms could happen if you pulled a muscle bad enough too. If you have like a grade 2 type of sprain, you can have spasms because of that. Like there are different things. Like spasms they typically don't just happen for no reason, right? If you're healthy and everything is the way that it's supposed to be, they typically just don't happen for some reason. Something gets pulled, you get out of alignment somewhere, right? Maybe your hips or something gets out of alignment. Like there's typically a reason why the spasms happen because your muscles are spasming, right? That's not typically something that should happen, right? That's not a normal occurrence that you just don't wake up. If you're a healthy person and you haven't, done anything, in any type of strenuous activity or whatever, and you've just been chilling all day, you typically don't wake up with back spasms. You wake up with back spasms or some type of injury like that, you probably have overexerted or something happened, right? You've had some type of trauma happen to wherever the area that's spasming. It's still not a great thing. Like, yeah, could he play through it? Yes, he could, but could it be something bigger? Yes, it can. So I'm just trying to cover all bases here. I'm not saying that it's something big or whatever. I'm not overreacting. The point of the matter is Mike Williams walked into the stadium without back spasms, right? Because we didn't hear it. He wasn't on the injury report. If that was something that was ailing him, we would have heard it. He walked in without back spasms, and he walked out now having back spasms, right? Well, hopefully just back spasms. Could be something different. Why? when it didn't change the outcome of the game. That is what I'm saying. Nobody here, anybody who's being a contrarian or whatever, hasn't answered the question as to why. Why did he walk in without him and then walk out with him? Why did he? And if we acknowledge that he did, right? Why? Who did it happen? And should it have happened? Is what I'm saying. It shouldn't have happened. We know it shouldn't have happened, and there's just really there's no explaining it away. I'm sorry. There's just no explaining it away. A lot of teams that have clinched played their guys. I don't know. Staley plays a bench and everyone's gonna cry he didn't have the team ready. No, teams have clinched, but they were playing for other things. Cincinnati clinched. They're playing for seeding. Buffalo playing for seeding. Most of these teams are playing for seeding. The Chargers were only where anything was going to change. Once the Baltimore and Cincinnati thing went final, nothing was going to change. Everybody else was playing for seeding. If Buffalo lost and Cincinnati won, Buffalo was going to go down to the 3, and then the whole neutral site AFC thing was going to go away because they played one less game than Kansas City because the 1 seed and all of that stuff. They were trying to keep that in play because they don't want to go. They make it to the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. They don't want to go to Kansas City to play the AFC Championship game. They want to play it on a neutral field. So Buffalo had a lot to play for. Cincinnati, I already explained, they had a lot to play for. They were playing because if Buffalo slipped up, they had to win in order to secure that number 2 seed. So that's what they were playing for. And again, Cincinnati did not play last week. Buffalo did not play last week. They got through. When did the DeMar Hamlin thing happen? What, in the first quarter, right? So they didn't really play. They didn't get a full game in. Everybody was shook up. They didn't finish the game. They all went home, so they didn't play. So that's 2 weeks, or it would have been 2 weeks that their teams didn't play. Of course they played. Going to play because of that. As far as seeding goes, the Chargers didn't have to play for that. There was no seeding. They were going to be the 5th seed no matter what this situation, no matter what the game turned out. If the Chargers lost 75-0, guess what seed they were going to be? The 5th seed, right? If Justin Herbert didn't take a single snap today, guess what seed they were going to be at the end of the night? The 5th seed. So again, why take these risks? Why take these risks? The team was going to be ready. The team's going to be ready. They were going to be ready. They've been playing well for the past month. They're going to be ready. One shitty game, one shitty week. Again, insult to injury. This is insult to injury. So, let's see. I think even without Mike, we should still be able to win. It'll all be Staley's fault if we lose against the 8-9 Jags. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't think. I just don't think that you're not going to be able to go up there and play one of these games without Mike Williams and not score points. I just don't think that. The way that the defense played today, do you trust the defense with this performance? Do you trust them? They were trying to have this. This is, again, the Broncos' worst offense in the league. One of the worst offenses in the league. I think they were just better than Houston. I think they were just better than Houston or Indy or whatever, right? I think they're 30th or 29th in offense. They're towards the bottom of the league in offense. That's the team that you gave up all these points against, all these yards. I mean, I'm just saying, do you trust the defense to go up there and stop these guys after what we've seen today? Offense is going to have to, you're absolutely 100% going to have to do something offensively, and you need Mike Williams to do that. Let's see. For Ian Rappaport, test came back negative. For Mike, who came back. You seen this one right here. Chargers receiver came back negative. So that's not really saying a lot. Your X-rays are X-rays looking at your bones. It's not looking at your soft tissue. So I expected this to be some type of soft tissue thing. If the X-rays showed anything, that means his back would be broken, and his career would probably be over. So I didn't expect that to happen, but this seems like a soft tissue injury, some type of pull. And this is something that is not I don't know. These things really don't go away within a week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens going forward. It's not going to be the X-rays should come back negative in a situation like that, because if the X-rays are bad, then you have a broken bone in your back, a broken vertebrae or something like that. So that would your X-ray should be coming back negative in a situation like that. And again, if your X-rays are not negative when they're doing a back X-ray, your career is in jeopardy. It's not just a playoff game, your career. So I didn't expect that. I don't think his career is in jeopardy, but soft tissue injuries typically don't heal up all that easy like that. Yeah, so it's going to be a hell of a week to see what is going to be a hell of a week to see how this plays out with Mike Williams and how he's able to deal with this. Right, maybe he's able to deal with the pain at this point, because you know that it's not going to be like broken or whatever. Point, I did this point. If it's not too serious, I think at this point um he could probably be in line for a shot to play, maybe, but they'll have to see with an MRI and all of that stuff, because hopefully he hasn't pulled anything, or if he has too bad of a strain, then it might become an issue. But if it's not too bad, then he might be in line for a cortisone shot to play in the playoff game. That would be that would probably be the best case scenario, I think, in this case. But only time will tell. We'll see how this plays out. But it again, this is still not looking great. It's still just not looking great. Let's see. They played KC well last week too. Coach changed obviously made a difference. Yeah, it did. I think they were able to kind of simplify things and do things that actually work. So yeah, doubt over 90. Yes, yeah, same thing. X-rays mean nothing. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything as far as him not being able to play or whatever. It could be a possibility he's still out. Depends on what. If I had to guess, I would probably say he probably has a strain in his back, a back strain. And if he needs help walking to the bus, then that lets you probably like a grade 2 should be in his lower back or something like that. He's gonna, as soon as the plane lands in LA, he's gonna have to start getting treatment right away. Like, he's gonna have to really start getting treatment right away. He's gonna have to get cupping and all of that stuff done. He's gonna have to get that shit massaged, probably several times a day. It's gonna be a very, very tough. It's gonna be a very tough week for him. I would imagine he has his work cut out ahead of him, but hopefully he's able to get back. I hope he's able to get back. Soft tissue backs are hard. Yeah, like hamstrings. They are. Any type of soft tissue injury is hard. It's very, very, very hard, because with the swelling and inflammation, like, that's hard to get rid of. And you can treat it as much as you want to, but unless that tissue is like healthy and there's a lot of blood flow going through there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the healing process can be drawn out. So that's why, like, treatment is needed right away. Like, it's a very soft tissue injuries suck. They suck. If Bosa settles in, our defense could be decent next week. It could. It could. They got to settle in on the back end too, though. You can't just you're not going to be able to get a sack every single down, right? So there's going to be some downs where your defense is going to have to hold up. And in the back end, those guys, they did not do a good job today. And again, Jacksonville has more weapons than Broncos. So I'm a little worried about this defense going week. Let's see. Should have arrested him. He was in Certain Island anyway, first game. Yeah. I think he should have arrested. I do think he should have arrested. I think after the first quarter, the starter should have been pulled, and then it would have been no issue. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll definitely see what happens. Is Bosa tweaking or something, or red? No, I think he tweaked something, but it looked like he's in, but he had his helmet. He didn't go back into the game. So even with him too, like these guys have injured. Like anybody who is not like you're just I'm tripping or whatever. This and that. These guys have had injury history. Joey Bosa just came back from a major injury, major surgery that he had. I'm not tripping. Y'all are tripping if you think that you guys can just go out there in a meaningless game, get all banged up, and you think that everything's gonna be fine. These guys have injury history, right? All of the guys who got injured today have injury histories in their career. That's something to worry about. It's not something to just throw it out there, right? It's not you out there. It's not you. It's not you. So, just throwing it out there. You're not Joey Bosa. You don't know what he feels. You don't know the pain that he feels. That's some shit that he has to deal with, right? And even if he did, I can imagine he's probably going to be sore for the next couple of days. So he's got to do his work to get ready to play next week. So to just throw it off as like, these guys, it's nothing. This was nothing. Oh, this was responsible on Staley's part. You don't want a guy have injury history in harm's way. And the thing, because it's not us that's doing the rehab. It's not Staley that's doing the rehab. It's these guys doing the rehab. They're sitting there on their asses for I don't know how many hours a day getting treatment, right? That hurts. Treatment that's uncomfortable, right? All of that stuff. That shit sucks. That's the bad part of playing in the NFL. When you watch these stories, these documentaries of guys who are injured and they have to rehab and they have to go, rehab 12, 14 hours a day. They have to get all of this stuff. Like it's those guys going through it. So to just throw it off like it's nothing. No, like you're being disrespectful. You're not respecting the player. These are not robots. These are human beings. So that's why I'm saying this shit doesn't make sense. Mike Williams has to rehab. His injury ain't gonna get better just by him waking up, just by you guys tweeting positive shit or whatever. That's not how it works. Mike is going to have to rehab his ass off all week long to probably have a chance to play, right? If it's nothing serious, he's probably going to have to rehab it. That's him doing that, though. It's not you. That's him. That's him doing it. So he's going to have to go through that. That shit sucks. And I don't envy, I don't want to be in their positions. I don't want to switch places with them. They got to do that. They got to take care of that. And it's on them to do that. So all the speculation and just throwing it off as nothing, whatever this and that. No, that's bullshit. These guys are not, they're not robots. They're not robots. They're not out there to just, run around and shit for your fantasy teams and all of this stuff. These are real life human beings. These injuries suck. Being hit like that and taking all these hits and having all this shit take a toll on your body, all that shit sucks. So to just talk it down like it's nothing, oh, he's fine, and I'm just tripping. No, man, that's a real life shit. That is real life shit, real life stuff. You gotta, come on, man. You guys gotta get some type of compassion for these players. They're not just robots out there. Let's see. Horror Channel confirmed Mike Williams suffered back spasms. Let's see. Somebody posted Chargers wide receiver suffered back spasms, but MRI was negative, and he should be available for playoff game versus Jaguars per source. Lindsay Thierry, yeah, and she covers the team too. So confirmed back spasms. Back spasms, he's fine. Okay. Back spasms, he should be fine. Okay, but this is what I was saying though. He's fine. Do we know that? He's still going to be sore. That's what I'm saying. Like, even all the people who, yes, I'm glad that it's just back spasms, but he's going to have to rehab this week. He's going to have to rehab. He's going to have to get treatment. As soon as the plane lands in LA, he's going to have to get treatment. This is not something that you can just throw off. If you've ever had back spasms, like, come on, man. If you've ever had back spasms, you know, especially if you've had them for any more than a day or something, you know that it's something that might come back tomorrow. Even if you do get treatment, even if you do get massage, something that can come back tomorrow. Like, it's not just something that you can just throw out there. Like this shit's hard. It's not just hard. Like, it's not, come on, man. It's not just that. It's just not that. Oh, it's just back spasms. It's not just that. It's just not that. Like, he has to rehab. He has to rehab, and he has to, hopefully have a chance to go out there and play as well as he can. But I don't know. I can't just throw it off and just be like, oh, it's just back spasms. He'll be fine. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he is able to. Hopefully he's able to. Should be fine. Like, he'll be healthy. Yeah. and he couldn't walk out the locker room and stuff. If he needed help out of the locker room today, that means he's going to be sore as shit tomorrow. And the crazy thing about all of this too is that you obviously need sleep. Everybody needs sleep. Spasms get worse as you sleep. And there are certain positions that physical therapists can give you to sleep in. But everything tightens up when you go to sleep. That's why when you stretch out in the morning time, right? And that's why sometimes if you've had prior injuries and all that stuff, your knee hurts in the morning, your foot hurts, whatever. Like any type of injury that you had, it hurts in the morning time. Spasms could hurt in the morning time too for him. So yes, should he be fine? Yes. But I mean, let's not put too much pressure on the brother, man. He just come on. They just reported he couldn't walk to the bus. Now, come on. It's just it's not just as easy as that. It's not just as easy as 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's back spasms. He'll go out there and just be fine. We'll see. Hopefully he have and hopefully he's able to feel. But these are not robots, man. These guys are not robots. It's late in the season. They're banged up. They're dealing with multiple things. So we'll see. Um, Oftentimes it's the players who want to play because they want to get their bonus checks for milestones they reach. True, and that could happen too, but I don't think nobody was reaching a milestone today. Mike Williams, his contract, his money is guaranteed this year, so I don't think he gets any more money for any milestones. He was already out for how many games did he miss? He missed 5 games. So if there is any milestones in his contract, he wasn't going to reach them today. Same thing with Keenan Allen. Like he was out. Keenan Allen was out for what, seven games. If there was any milestones in his contract, he wasn't going to reach them today because those milestones typically, 1,500 yards or whatever. Those milestones are hard to reach. Those are milestones that take you all the way to the end of the season. So I don't think anybody was reaching any milestones today. Maybe Eckler, but I don't know if he has any bonuses in his contract. He already had over 100 catches. So if that was something that was a milestone, he had already reached that the previous game. There wasn't really any milestones for anybody to reach. Herbert's still on his rookie contract, no milestones for him. Nobody has. There's not a receiver on the team that has over 1,000 yards. There's no milestones for the Chargers to reach. This game was meaningless and it was pointless, pretty much. So I understand what you're saying, but in this situation, there's for any of the Chargers players reach, but they do that all the time. And yeah, just not in our situation here. The reason he will mostly be a middle of the field coach is he refuses to admit when he mismanaged situation. Yeah, the only way people improve is through honesty and accountability. I agree, 100%, 100% agree, 100% agree, 100%. And for him to on the palm a lot, say Mike Williams would have back into the game. I just that didn't build any empathy with fans. Like you're saying, you're lying and you're trying to turn a bad situation into maybe it wasn't that bad. Like no, it was. Like Mike Williams, he obviously couldn't come back. He had to get carted. He couldn't walk to the locker room. He couldn't walk to the bus. If he couldn't walk to the locker room or couldn't walk to the bus, how in the fuck was he going to play in the NFL game? It just doesn't make sense, right? Right. I mean, logic says if you can't walk on your own, then you can't play in an NFL game, right? Because you don't have any help out there. So, it's just it is what it is. Let's see. Oh, Gerald Everett had one today worth 200K. Did he get it? What was his milestone? Was it how many catches was it? He shouldn't. Even if he did have it in his contract, they shouldn't give it to him because he's been so damn inconsistent, dropping first downs, not helping Herbert out. Again, Herbert have so many more yards. So many more yards. Let's see. Correction, 250K for 5 more catches. Did he get that? Let's see. Did he get that? Let's check and see how many catches Everett had. I got it right. See, situations like that, I definitely I agree with players playing like to get their miles. I definitely agree with that. Gerald Everett. No, Gerald Everett only had 3 catches for 8 yards. No, he didn't. So he needed 5 catches to get that 250. Damn. That's terrible. Let's see. Example was Eck. He wanted to play because he was 2 touchdowns away from getting his bonus, even though he goes one of the rest. probably getting paid. So he had 2 touchdowns away from Eckler had 2 touchdowns away from his bonus. Okay. So did Eckler get it today? No, huh? Did he get no? No, Everett had the touchdown, huh? Yeah, no, he didn't get his bonus then, huh? So damn, so none of the guys got their bonuses. That sucks. Um, but situations like that, yeah, I can definitely understand. That's 250,000 to go out there and play in a game. Like if you do something, I'm not arguing against that at all. I'm not arguing against that at all. I'm just saying Mike Williams, the guys who were injury prone, Mike Williams didn't have a bonus attached to anything he did today. I don't think Allen did either. If I'm mistaken, but I think if you're playing for bonus, gotta go out there and get that money. You 100% have to go out to them. I definitely agree. Definitely 100% agree with that. Past Marino's touch the first year was most total touchdowns. That included rushing touchdowns too. He came up short. How many touchdowns short was he of? I think he was 6 touchdowns short, 6 passing touchdowns short. So he still didn't pass Marino for the first 3 years in passing touchdowns, but total touchdowns he did. I did see that. Spoke to a doctor. Mike Williams' X-ray came back negative. They didn't find any injury or issue, but a CT scanner MRI is the scans that make it clear what's going on. Still, this is a good sign. Okay, so yeah, X-rays came back at CT or MRI. They said he's gonna have an MRI pretty soon. He'll have an MRI probably tomorrow, right? Probably when they get back to LA. We'll see what that looks like. I'm sure that there's a pool in there somewhere. The MRI is gonna tell because the MRI tells the soft tissue injuries. I'm sure there's some type of strain or something in there. There has to be. For him to not be able to walk on his own, there has to be a pretty bad strain. Because I've had back injuries, and I don't think that I've ever been in that situation where I've needed help walking. Like that has to be a pretty severe like pull or something like that. Let's see. MB says probably would have hit if he didn't drop all those passes. Yeah, 100%. He dropped the pass. Yeah, and he looked pretty damn annoyed by it too. So yeah, that does make sense. It does make sense. Let's see. DeAndre Carful, he was don't catch, but he did get his bonus though. Okay, so DeAndre Carter got anybody who's playing for bonuses. You can't argue that. There's no way you can argue that because that's like literally it boils down to you going out there like, okay, you have a bonus for $250,000. Like you have $250,000. All you got to do is go out there and get 5 catches. Man, I'm gonna try my damnedest to get 5 catches. I'm gonna play until even if there's 2 seconds left on the clock. I'm out there and throw me a Hail Mary or hell, just throw me a screen pass. I get my bonus. I'm never gonna argue with that. Never gonna argue with guys getting their bonuses. But yeah, no, the guys who it looks like the guys who are up for bonuses, they were the guys who should have been playing. Like Gerald Everett, I don't care if he plays, right? He could play. I don't think he's gonna be crucial to playoff success, to be honest with you. I mean, he could have a good game, but his inconsistency, you really can't count on him. DeAndre Carter, obviously, he's gonna play. He's the main punt and kick return guy. He's a special teams guy. I expect him to play. Yeah, so I definitely expect him to play. Let's see. Yeah, PFT says Mike needs assistance to get on the bus. Yeah, this isn't minor. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's a super major injury, but when at this point in the season right now, I mean, there's no season anymore, right? The season is over. As soon as this Green Bay and Detroit game gets over with, the season's done. There's no more season after that. So as soon as that shit gets done with, there's no more season. So we're now in the postseason. So anything like this, these injuries, I mean, if this was week 9, right, this injury probably wouldn't be, a big deal, right? It wouldn't be a major thing, right? Maybe miss a game or two. But now in the playoffs, this is a major injury. So, especially if his play is in question, right? If he can't play, then yes, this is a major thing. And again, this is wholly 100% avoidable too. This is 100% avoidable. So, we know that he walked into the stadium without back spasms, and now he needed help to the bus. He got off the bus and into the stadium without assistance. Now he needs assistance to get out of the stadium. This is the situation that you avoid, right? This is the situation you avoid if you're a coach. Shouldn't have came to this. But yeah, it does seem like he is going to be, possibly, he could be available, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're gonna have to check that the MRI and see how bad it really is. Let's see, just get it. Spasms or strain is what I was told is more likely is. Yeah, so the possibility is that he will play, but the MRI/CT scan is key. Right. By the way, seeing from the tackle, I'll say low grade strain. Okay. So yeah, low grade and low grade. It says he will need a shot most likely. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. I think he's probably, because he avoided the major thing with the X-ray, right? If he does have a low grade strain, then he will be in line to get a pain shot before the game, right? That, and I assume it's hurting him, or whatever, but he does want to play. I assume that's what he will do, because it is a playoff game, right? And the playoffs is never it's never guaranteed. So I would assume that he's going to do everything in his power to play. But yeah, the MRI is going to tell a lot. But there is some type of strain there, and I would assume that there is now inflammation there too. And that's the thing too. It's not a long flight back from Denver to LA, but I know flying is not great for inflammation either. So how are they tending to it on the plane? Like there's a lot. The as the minutes and hours go by, there's a lot that's going to be determined about his injury. They better get some more targets to Parham to help out Mike if he actually plays. Yeah, Parham looked pretty good today. They got him out there running some routes where he is he can really go up and moss everybody. Running over the middle of the field, like, I mean, that throw that Herbert made to him, that deep crossing route, that deep over route, you don't have a chance. Like, as a defense, you don't have a chance. That dude is huge. Like, he has to be 6'10" in his cleats. Has to be 6'10". Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties too. And I mean, just throw the ball right above him, like where he can't reach it. His wingspan too. I mean, damn, like there's no way. There's no way. So I would love to see Parham. Sorry, that was my phone. So and he said Percocet. Oh no, damn, no, can't give him no Percocet. You can't give him no Percocet. You can't give him no Percocet. He wake up late for his for the film session and his treatment tomorrow. It is a shame the path was there. Jags round 1, and then on the KC, who the Chargers can play with. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Somebody said Gerald Butterfingers Everett. Yep, 100%. So I just got an update here on Bleacher Report. It says Mike Williams back injury believed to be mild. He'll be okay. So, again, it's not saying much. So, yes, he's gonna be okay. Like, not going to. He's not. He's not in critical condition from this. We know he's gonna be okay, but is he gonna be okay to play though? That's what I want to know. Is he gonna be okay to play? Is he gonna be good enough to go? Like, is he going to be himself this week? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. But from everything that we're hearing right now, let's see. I don't know. We'll see, man. This is an unideal situation for the Chargers to be in. Let's just leave it at that. They haven't even played the wild card game yet. Yeah, the wild card game. Yeah, well, it's gonna be on. They determined. Yeah, we'll know. They're working on the schedule right now. We'll know after this Sunday night here. Bosa balled out for the snaps he played. I think 11 snaps, 5 pressures. Yeah, and a sack. And he got held. How many times did he get held? He got held. I counted twice. I think I seen something else on Twitter where he got where people were saying that he got people were saying that he got held a few more times. He got held at least twice that I seen. Yeah, 5 pressures, a sack. Yeah, no, he's getting back into it. And I think him playing at altitude had something to do with him only playing 11 snaps too, because he played more snaps last week, I believe. But it looked like he was trying to catch his breath, but it's definitely something that is they're gonna have to look at him going full. I don't think he's gonna be on the snap count next week. I don't. I think especially if it's a close game and they need him in situations to rush a passer. I think he plays the whole game. I honestly do. Uh, let's see. Somebody said if Mike don't play next week, we're gonna lose. I would tend to agree. I will tend to agree. Let's see. We need Mike Dub. Let's be honest. Our offense is at our best when he's the receiving focal point. Yeah, with Keenan being the guy we go to on third downs. Yeah, I agree with that. He opens things up for Keenan and everybody else too. Yeah, this is a different. This is an offense. He's on the field, and the deep threat is always there too. But you we can only hope that he's going to be available this week. I hope that he's available. I hope that he is. Hope that he doesn't have too much inflammation or too much really difficulty like getting through the week or whatever. Like hopefully he's able to get through practice and all that stuff too. Because if it is just back spasms and if it's not related to any type of pain or strain or soft injury, I think we're. But again, it should not have even been a thing. This shouldn't even been a situation that the Chargers should have even been in at this point right now. This was wholly avoidable on Staley's part. But hey, we are so. If the football guys want to win the Super Bowl, stay positive. They'll find a way to win. I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, yes, and no. Staley can't fuck this up anymore, though. He can't. He can't make these stupid decisions. Again, because you keep playing. If you keep tempting fate, it sooner or later it's going to get you. Having Herbert in the game, taking hits down 38-10 in week 3, playing starters for way too long in a meaningless game. You tempt fate, it's gonna get you. It really is gonna get you. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I do think if Mike is out there, we're getting positive news, then okay, we're good. But again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But everything that I'm reading now, it seems like he's gonna be okay. But we'll see. Him needing help to the bus doesn't look good. But it could be nothing at the end of the day. Corey Linsley sets the tone for the offense. Someone, in my opinion, that Herbert needs. Yes, Corey Linsley he's been that guy. Honestly, definitely agree it's avoidable, but here we are. So I'm gonna just try to put positive vibes out there and hope for the best. Me too. Everything that I'm reading right now, it seems like he is going to be okay. So I think it's probably going to be one of those things where he can't do like any more damage, and if there's any pain, then he might just have to deal with the pain, and then at that point maybe get a pain shot. But yeah, they need Mike Williams, but I don't even think they need him to do a lot. I don't think they need him to have 10 catches. When Mike is at his best, I think he's having like 4 or 5 catches. He's going down the field, and whether or not they complete the passes down the field, it backs the defense up, and the Chargers are able to work underneath. And they've been going to a lot more intermediate stuff on offense, and I like that. I like what I've seen in the first quarter. I'm gonna make a video about that tomorrow, so I'm gonna be going over the stuff that I like. I did see good stuff in the first quarter, but then after that, things kind of snowball. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully it's Saturday game, but we probably will. I hope we do the Monday game. That Monday game. I think the NFL will want that. Lawrence versus Herbert in the playoffs. That's a good Monday night game. That would be ideal, very ideal. Staley coaches like he's in college basketball game, in my opinion. he coaches like he does coach like a college football coach. Somebody said, "Hey, Chad, we're excited to see if Lombardi opens a playbook for some dope plays." Hey, I mean, Lombardi has been okay these past couple of weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I've talked about him ad nauseum when he's not good, but I think he is. I think he's okay, and I think Staley has been helping with the offensive game planning because the first quarter, the offense in the first quarter, even in like just in general in the first half, like yes, there were some drop passes and stuff, but the offense looked like a real offense in the first half. So I thought that they were okay. I thought that they were decent. I thought they were decent in the first half. And at halftime, like even though okay, like the defense gave up that crazy drive, 3 plays, 75 yards. But before then, it was 17-10. Chargers were up going into halftime. And I thought offense, I thought they played well. I thought they played well. I thought they got a lot of reps in. I thought Herbert was really, really good. He was good and efficient. Obviously, Keenan Allen was balling. Everybody was balling. Everybody was doing their thing. And then the Mike Williams thing happened. And then everything just kind of snowballed from there. It just kind of was just blah. So it's they had something going there in the first quarter. That's when I thought probably would have been the perfect time to pull the starters after the first quarter. And if guys who were playing for bonuses, then yeah, you let those guys play. But everybody else, they should have pulled them out. But first quarter, they were okay. They were okay. The play calling was good too. And I haven't been able to say that about Lombardi all season long, but the play calling was pretty damn good. So I got to give him credit for that. Thoughts on us drafting Michael Meyer, late first round, early second. We need tight end help. Yeah. He's a mini Gronk, not fast but physical. He has great hands and outstanding blocker. Every cut it all. I am going to I'm gonna make a video on this. I'm gonna make a video on this. I do think the Chargers need to tight end, but I don't think Michael Meyer. My two guys did, and this is a heavy tight end draft too. There's a bunch of tight end talent all the way down the list. I think the Chargers either go with the tight end from Utah, Dalton Kincaid. If you watch any college football, if you're a USC fan, I'm a USC fan, he's the reason why USC has they lost twice in the Pac-12. Dalton Kincaid, he was unguardable. The dude was really, really good. Dalton Kincaid, he was really good. But I also think the tight end from Baylor, what is the dude's name? Jared Wiley, number 19. I think that guy has a lot of NFL potential. He's like 6'7", 260, but he runs really, really well for a guy that size. He's like a freak type of athlete. He can block and he can also catch too. I think he's a huge red zone threat. He's a legitimate tight end. He can be a guy that can really, really, really help the offense. Like he can help in the middle of the field. Like he is a guy you have to double cover him. You have to. He's 6'7", but he can also run too, and he runs routes very well. He's very fluid. If you're going to watch the national championship game tomorrow, be on the lookout for him, number 19. He's very, very good from Utah. That's the guy that I want, and I think he's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be in the first round. I think the Mayer from Notre Dame. I think he'll probably hit him, Kincaid. I think they'll probably be like the first two tight ends taken, and I think Wiley will be there in the second round for the Chargers if they want him, or late first round if they want him too. But yeah, I do think tight end is an area of concern because Gerald Everett is not. He's not who he should be. He could be so much better. His hands are so inconsistent though. So, it's. Yeah, I'm gonna get into a lot of draft stuff once the season is over. But yeah, I'm excited for that. This is a very talented draft from top to bottom coming up. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of pass catching talent. Wide receiver and tight end. This is a stocked draft. This draft is like you can probably get like a star, right? A Pro Bowler, probably in the third round at either wide receiver or tight end. That's how deep this draft is this year. So yeah, I can't wait to cover some of that stuff. I'm gonna cover a lot of it as much as I can, but I am gonna get to a lot of that doing draft stuff. See, I this comment. I agree with this. We would be even scared. If Guyton was healthy. That was an underrated injury. Nobody really talks about. Yes, I agree. Especially the way that things are going now offensively. Guyton would be huge, be able to get down the field 100%. I definitely think that. Let's see. Mike Maynard was projected to fall for us when the Chargers were 6-6. Yeah. Now that we're in the playoffs, I don't think he's going to fall. And he is depending on his like combine workouts, if he's not terrible, then yeah, I think he will be the first tight end taken off the board. He has some of Gronk's characteristics. He's not as big as him, but he can block really, really well. He's a good red zone threat, so I think he will be taken off the board early. You look for a team like I don't know, maybe a team like 7 to 12, probably like from 7 to 12 on whatever, or maybe below 10. I don't know if he goes top 10, maybe 10 to like 20 or something. But the Chargers won't be in that range because they have qualified for the playoffs, and if they win a playoff game, they go deeper into it, right? They're not going to qualify, so you're going to have to start looking at the guys bottom of the first round probably. If the guy is there, if Jen Hyatt from is there, I think that should go first round. He is a big, obviously speed threat, but I think he's a guy that can be a number one wide receiver down the line because he really, really, really has a lot of explosion. He has good hands, and he's a guy you can't really at this point right now, like coming into the league, you can look at him kind of like a Justin Jefferson type of player. I think he's a little faster than Justin Jefferson though, but he has kind of that quality. He has that quickness off the line of scrimmage, and he can run the whole route tree. So I think he's going to be a guy that could potentially fall, but we'll see when combine season starts and they start running 40s and all of that stuff. There's going to be a lot of guys who catch a lot of teams' attention just based off of their performances. So we'll see who's there, who falls. But there's going to be, no matter what, there's going to be good players available at least the first 3 rounds. So I'm not worried about the talent being there. I'm just worried about the Chargers actually doing the right thing and building the team in the proper manner and drafting guys who can contribute first, the first day on the job. That's what I want. Excuse me. We need someone to run up the seam, as you were saying. Others, someone big that will draw safe, take attention away from Mike. And I Wiley is the guy to do that. Jared Wiley, he's very, very like I don't know why he's not getting a lot of attention. Like he doesn't get as many catches as he should red zone, but to you, he towers over people. And it's like, damn, who is this guy? Why aren't they giving him the ball? And I think in the championship game, in the Big 12 championship game, I think he had a pretty good game. Like if maybe it's that one, maybe it's another game, but he had a pretty damn good game. And he was pretty noticeable, like especially getting towards the red zone. I think I seen him line up, chip somebody, and he chipped him so hard he fell, and then he ended up catching a touchdown or something too. And I was like, damn, who is this guy? And it's like I'm watching the entire game, and he stood out. He stood out doing that. He chipped the defensive end and just like knocked him on his ass, and then caught the touchdown pass. Like this dude here, like, but he's a big guy though, so I think that's what the Chargers need, and they tend to like bigger dudes too. So I mean, could you imagine a goal line package? Donald Parham, 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", Jared Wiley, 6'7", 6'8", Mike Williams, 6'4". Like, could you imagine that? Who do you guard, right? Who do you double? And even if you do double them, Herbert can throw that shit up, and one of those guys can jump out the gym and get the ball. Like that is definitely a cheat code right there in the red zone. Especially if the Chargers got the right offensive coordinator to do that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the draft. Really looking forward to the draft. This is Wiley is the white Donald. Oh no. No, he's not Donald Parham in his first sport, and the way that he plays, you can tell that football is not his first sport. He has, like, tall people normally have a lot of goof to them. Like you can tell he has a lot of goofy the way they run. The way he catches balls, like he has a little bit like just tiny bit of like goofy type of movement. Like That's why most guys, when you see NBA players do what they do, that's why it's such a spectacle, because most people who are tall like that, they have too there's too much body for them to control. So like Goofy just move around in a goofy manner, right? Like olive oil from Popeye. A lot of tall people. I know a lot of tall people like that. I went to high school with a dude who was like 6'6". My our freshman year, I think he was like 6'6", and I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while. He's probably like 6'10" now. He's goofy though. He was goofy. He couldn't dunk. He could not dunk a basketball. He was 6'6", and all he literally had to do was jump a few inches. Really, he had long arms, long legs. He was goofy, moving all around and stuff. He was like, but and that was in high school. So as I go to college, I meet people, tall people like that too, like tall girls, tall guys who are just they're so tall, they have so much body, they have no um normally tall people like that who are national athletes don't have that much body control. And it looked like Donald Parham is he's obviously not like that, right? He's obviously, he has good body control. He's in the NFL, he wouldn't be there, but he has a little I can tell when he's running. When I see Wiley, he doesn't really have that. He doesn't have that goofiness to him. He's a tall guy that doesn't have that goofiness to him. Those are rare. They're few and far between. He doesn't really have that goofy to him. So even Herbert's a tall guy too, but he doesn't have the goofy to him either. He's a straight up athlete like that. That's why that video of him playing basketball, what was it, a couple of off seasons ago? Like he was dunking and shit. Like you can tell he's an athlete. Like you can tell who's an athlete. Donald Parham, I don't know. I don't. I think he has a lot of work to do to get better. He's just I don't know. There's something about his movements that are like a little weird. Um, let's see. My mic is laggy. It might be it could be my connection, maybe Sir connection. I don't know. I think it's okay. I reset my connection, so it seems to be pretty good on my end. Uh, I'll set this off with an olive branch. 90% of your text I agree with. Now I'm lighting it on firemen slapping you with it. Which um which take are you not which take don't you agree with? Daniel, which one don't you agree with? Because I think what did I don't know. I don't think I gave really any hot takes today, but we'll see. Well, which one don't you I'm interested to see which one you don't agree with though. I'm always up for some discourse. Do you think Derwin James playing throws out the Chargers D? I want your take if you don't mind. I don't know. Like I see somebody saying like I see people saying that, but um I don't know, man. He's it just doesn't seem to flow. Like so, there's something there. Maybe it's play calling, maybe it's Staley. It just doesn't seem to flow with Derwin James in. I don't know. I don't know if it's the way that they ask him to play. I just like I don't know. It just there's something about it. Like when he was out, the defense really plays. They look like a traditional type of defense. And when Derwin's in, like you can never really tell what he's doing. And I don't know if Staley thinks that it's confusing the offense, but to me, it just looks like it's confusing the defense. Cause like, is he supposed to like be in the robber position most of the time? Is he supposed to be in coverage? Is he supposed to be up at the line of scrimmage? Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, it seems like moving him around like that could really mess up the flow of what everybody else is doing because if he is like at the line of scrimmage or if he's moving around and if he's supposed to be in coverage, right? Could uh like one of the DBs could they, maybe get the call mistaken and think that he's supposed to be deep in the middle of the field. So now they're playing like outside leverage or whatever or inside leverage and they let a receiver run free and then this big play. Like I don't know there might be vacation type thing, but I don't know. It just hasn't. The defense has been better when he's been out. Like that's been a fact, and the numbers pretty much bear that out too. But I, I don't know. I think they're gonna have to reevaluate that going into. I think they have to reevaluate that going into the offseason. I really do. I think that they're going to have to reevaluate how they play him and what they expect of him. Because when he's in the game, it just doesn't seem to really flow. Like the play calling and stuff doesn't seem to flow. So yeah, we'll I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll know in the playoffs for sure if the defense is better without him. Mike is injury prone. Period. He's the Tua of receivers. Next, what are you suggesting? Forfeit. You're right. We shouldn't have flown there. Who cares about millions of dollars paid to play? The Tua of no, he's not the Tua of Tua. No, that is a fallacy right there. That you compare Williams to Tua. Mike Williams injured. Okay, he injured his ankle earlier in the season. This is a back injury right now, but this is not going to kill him. Right? This is not going to kill him, and it's not going to. I assume with medical science where it is today, I assume that it's these injuries now are not going to have an effect on how he lives the rest of his life. With Tua though, the next time Tua steps on the field could be his last time ever, like ever. And I get that there's some inherent risk with all NFL players, but to compare him to Tua though, Tua has, 3 concussions this year. Like he might not be able to play football ever again. And the risk of him playing football, the risk of him dying on the field goes up every single time that he goes out there now. 3 concussions in one season is a lot. And that's not even taking into account maybe all the concussions he's had, high school, college, whatever. His first 2 years in the league, right? I don't know how many concussions he's had, but 3 concussions within a span of what it's been about 3 months, right? So 3 concussions in 3 months compared to an ankle injury and a back injury. That's not correct. That's not a correct, definitely not a correct comparison in that sense. Also, 84 playing 84 games out of 96 games. That's not exactly injury prone. To miss 12 NFL games is to play 84 out of 96 NFL games is good. That's good. That's probably top of the league, right? When it comes to playing all those games, it's probably top of the league. That's almost an 85% clip that you're playing in games, right? And you're playing taking hits, and you're playing a physical game for 16, 17 weeks. So yeah, no, that's not. I don't think that is a I don't think that is a fair comparison. You obviously don't. No, you're obviously not going to forfeit the game, but you're not going to play players who have been injured, and that's what I'm saying. Like you're not going to play you're not going to play players who have been injured, and it's not for their. You can look at it for their from their perspective, and you don't want them to get hurt, but it's also not great for the team if these guys get injured, because Mike Williams is a guy we can't win without Mike Williams. And that's just the way that our team is built. That's why he got paid so much money. And this offense is not nearly as effective without him. So, and these are facts too. These are facts. We seen what the team was without Mike Williams, and we just can't do anything without him. He presents matchup problems for so many other teams, and they have a hard time, right? No matter Joe Lombardi calling plays, anybody else, he presents a problem for a lot of defenses. So we can't play without him. So us knowing that coming into the game, Brandon Staley should have took the approach, let's be safe, right? Play the first quarter or whatever, and then pull them out. Knowing that it's somebody that you can't win without. And that's the thing. Like, the players that you can't win without. We know we can't win without Herbert. We know we can't win without Keenan Allen. We know we can't win without Mike Williams. Those guys, offense, and obviously your offense line too, Pipkins and Corey Inslee, right? We know this. We know the guys who we cannot win without. So there's really no, you have no reward in playing those guys because nothing changes. You don't get anything else. And again, I've said if they have bonus money, then yeah, let them play. But there is really there's not really there's no positive to. And again, these are decisions that they've been good enough for Belichick. They've been good enough for Don Shula. They've been good enough for Bill Parcells. They've been good enough for Bill Walsh. They've been good enough for John Madden. They've been good enough for Chuck Noll. They have been good enough for anybody, Mike Shanahan. They've been good enough for Kyle Shanahan. They've been good enough. All of these decisions have been good enough for all of these other coaches who have, again, multiple Super Bowl winning coaches, Hall of Famers. These were made. So if these are good enough for all of those coaches, are they sure good enough for this team? Because Brandon Staley isn't anywhere near those coaches. He's not anywhere. He's not even mentioned in the same sentence as them. So again, trying to change the wheel, trying to come in and trying to change things and thinking that you're going to do it your way when there have been greats of this game who have paraded the sidelines, these same decisions, because the handbook is out there, right? There's a handbook. There is a book that you go to, right, when you're making decisions like this, right? That's why, like, if you've played blackjack or whatever, right, if you get a 15 or a 14, right? What does the book say? That's what people always say, right? What does the book say? So when you get to a situation like this, what does the book say? The book says get your starters out of harm's way. So that's just what it is. Like, so what does the book say? That's what you can always go back to. That's what the saving grace. That's how coaches have made their names in this sport. What does the book say? Not taking risk, right? Let's not take a risk. Let's not take a chance. Let's rest our starters. Let's just do that. And that's just what it is. So that's what it is. Like, what does the book say? And again, I'm not saying you can't be creative and have your own style, your own type of coaching style and all that stuff, but what does the book say? And that's something that you should live by if you're a coach or if you're in any type of leadership position or whatever. Like, what does the book say? Let's go by the book, because the book has been written because people have had success doing it this way, right? Now, if you find another way of doing it where people have success and have as much success, then we can do it your way. But let's go by what the book says. And Brandon Staley is not a let's do what the book says guy. And that bit him in the ass last year, obviously against the Raiders, right? That was a game the Chargers should have won. Went for it on fourth down at his own 20, right? And the Raiders ended up scoring 3 points in that game. That was 3 point buy. So again, in that situation, what does the book say? No, he didn't. He said, fuck the book. I'm going to write my own book. And it bit him in the ass. And again, this was another what does the book say situation. He said, fuck the book. I'm going to write my own book. And again, it bit him in the ass again, because now your star wide receiver, even though it's not being reported as a major serious injury, right? Time will tell if he's able to play, and if he is, how good is he, right? He's going to be 100%. This is, again, a situation that should not have even happened. So again, this is not one of those situations where you can say, fuck it, I'm going to do this my own way. There has been a certain way to do this type of stuff forever. And if you're going to go and try to do it your own way, you get bit in the ass, you're going to get a lot of criticism, and it's criticism that is deserved. So yeah, like, of course, like, there's no, you're not going to forfeit. Obviously you're going to go play the game, but this is not a let's do it my way type of thing. There is a certain way to do this. There is a certain way to do this. There has always been. And again, coaches who are better, coaches who are smarter, coaches who are more successful, coaches who have won more, coaches who have multiple Super Bowl rings, coaches who have put players in the Hall of Fame have done it this way. So Brandon Staley should be following suit there, because Brandon Staley is not any of those things. He's not any of those things. So he should be doing what the greats have done. And if you're not going to greats have done, then there is, you can't be helped. You just can't be helped. You do what other people that are better, and there's no shame in that. There's no, oh, I don't want to copy anybody else. No, you do what these other guys have done to get success. That's how it goes. That's just the name of the game. That's life. And if your ego is so much that you can't do that, you're gonna have a hard time. And to me, it seems like that's what Brandon Staley is going through. He just can't. His ego won't let him get to that point where he wants to do it. Oh, they did it this way. Yeah, of course. Why? Yeah. That's how Belichick did it. Yeah. That's why he's got 6 rings. Yeah, that's how Bill Parcells did it. Yeah, that's why he got rings. So what's wrong with that? I just there's no explanation as to why you wouldn't do things by book in situations that call for by the book things. Like it's just no explanation of it. It's all ego driven, all ego based, and honestly, we've seen it with press conference. Brandon Staley said Mike Williams could have went back into the game. Obviously, it wasn't true because he needed help to get back to the bus. So again, this is ego stuff. This is all ego driven stuff, and him asked in if Mike Williams can't to be too bad and all of that stuff. This is going to continue. He's going to continue making these decisions, and it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. You just can't. That's not the way that the world works. You have to do things, and you have to be successful, right, any way that you can. And it doesn't matter if somebody else did it that way. It doesn't matter if you don't like the certain way. It doesn't matter. Success is success. That's really all that matters. There's young coaches that get paralyzed for doing their way. What haters and always wanted to do it his way. But you know, hey, it is what it is. If you want to do it your way, you do it your way. But most of the time, there is a winning way, and I want to do it the winning way. And most fans want it to be done the winning way. So, hey, it is what it is. But you know, I like I said, I'm always willing to have discourse on this, but it shouldn't have been. This situation shouldn't have even come up. To be honest, a smart coach, this situation wouldn't even happen. Mike Tomlin, this doesn't happen. Belichick, this doesn't happen. Even a Sean McDermott, that doesn't happen, right? Smart coaches, this shit doesn't happen. McVay, this doesn't happen. Andy Reid, this doesn't happen. All the smart coaches in the league, all the Super Bowl winning coaches in the league, it just doesn't happen. These situations don't happen. So we're arguing about a situation that shouldn't have even happened in the first place. So to me, it's a moot point because this shouldn't have happened. Let's see. Seen somebody say playoff teams that rest their starters the last week have won 33% of their first round games. Also, his playoff game in Chicago showed him players come out flat. I mean, stats are stats. Every team is different. Every situation is different as well too. And you know, it is what it is. Like he played. Players played today. Starters played today. What was accomplished, really though? And in this side of like Williams and all stuff, they got worse today. So, I mean, what was really accomplished? And if they go out and lose next week, you can point back to week 18. They come out and they got torched by a bad offense. That ain't good mojo going into the playoffs. That's not what you want to go into the playoffs with, especially considering how you've been playing the past 4 weeks. That's not what you want to go into the playoffs with. It's just not. It's not a good. It's not a good. That's not a good thing to bounce off of, right? That's not a good thing to want to build off of. You got torched, and again, this is you're playing against you're playing against a coach who, in Doug Peterson, again, who is a Super Bowl winning coach. A guy who has really turned around the Jaguars. You know, he has made Trevor Lawrence into a pretty damn good quarterback. You're playing against an experienced coach. So again, even from taking this away from injuries, and I said this earlier, and I'll say it again, taking away from injuries, if you're going to go out and you're going to play your starters, you want to play this kind of like a preseason game, right? You don't want to show too much. You want to be able to go out there, kind of make it a boring game and not show too much, not overplay your hand. And to me, that's what Staley did. He overplayed his hand. He played his starters because he said he wanted some momentum. And the starters went out there and they got torched by one of the worst offenses in the league. So when Doug looks at tape, he's going to be able to take some things away from this, right? And maybe you've seen Asante Jr. play well all season long. We've seen him play well all season long. We didn't see him get torched or anything all season long. He got torched today, right? So maybe that's something that you might want to go and try. Maybe you want to go and try him next week. Maybe you say, oh, maybe 26 isn't as good as we thought he was, right? We looked at all the other tape and he looked good, but maybe he isn't as good as we thought he was, right? The Broncos run a similar offense to what the Jaguars do. So maybe they want to come out, maybe they want to test him, right? Maybe they want to test him, maybe they want to run the same concepts. And Doug Peterson is a much better play designer, much better play caller than Aten is for the Broncos. He's a first-time play caller, first-time offensive coordinator. Doug Peterson, again, Super Bowl winning coach, right? He's got a lot of experience in this league. Former quarterback in this league. Maybe he goes out and he sees some concepts that give the Chargers some trouble today. Maybe he goes right back to those. So the Chargers are going to have to come right back out next week and defend against the same shit that burned them, right? So they're going to have to make adjustments. Staley's going to have to make adjustments. And when it comes to that, when it comes to the coaching matchup next week, it's not even close. Doug Peterson is head and shoulders above what Brandon Staley is. Again, Brandon Staley is all we know about Brandon Staley is that people have said that he is smart. He's smart, right? 1 9-win season, now a 10-win season, right? Doug Peterson beat Tom Brady. He beat Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl. You can't take that away. He beat him with a backup quarterback. That's how good he was as a coach. So when we're talking about coaches at being their best, Brandon Staley's best isn't Peterson's best. So we're looking at a situation here again where you possibly have overplayed your hand, because if backups were out there, Doug Peterson he ain't gonna look at this tape and say, "Oh, this is anything," because we're not gonna be facing these guys. But these guys we're gonna be facing the same guys who are out on the field who got torched today are guys out on the field in Jacksonville next week. So again, is there concepts? Is there things that he can take away from this tape? You best believe that there is. All the great coaches in the league are able to take things away from it. They look at the game from a very, very different perspective than anybody else does. That's why they're the best in the world at what they do. That's why Doug Peterson was able to beat Tom Brady. That's why he was able to beat Bill Belichick. It wasn't just luck. He prepared. He prepared for that. And when the moment came, he was prepared for that. He took down the fucking evil empire, the backup quarterback. So again, guys, you have to understand, this is the league where coaches really make their names, right, by going out, game planning, making adjustments, and really playing chess. Doug Peterson has shown that can Brandon Staley do that? We don't know. We honestly don't know. We really, really, really don't know. So all of this is these are all question marks until they get answered, right? If the Chargers go out and win and they beat the Jaguars and there is a good game plan installed defensively and they're able to stifle Trevor Lawrence and all that stuff, then we'll have something else to talk about. But as of right now, they're proven. The Chargers side will be proven with this coach. It wasn't great today, but I mean there's still at least one game left, so we'll see what happens going forward. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off now. I've been on for quite a minute now, so I enjoy all of the discussions, enjoy all of the discourse here, and I will be making more videos this week as the week goes on about different topics, and we'll be getting into the playoff game against Jacksonville. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here now, guys. Thank you guys so much for the support, and you'll be seeing a lot of me this week. But until next time.